AG has been moving in silence, and that was confirmed yesterday when the Jets released the first round of interviews for the defensive coordinator position. We've got the names, we've got research, we've got intel on all these guys, and a very special guest joining us on the program. A return. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Again, yesterday, Friday, the Jets released the full interview list of the 8 people they performed Zoom interviews with for the defensive coordinator role. They're now going to cut down that group of 8 down to a smaller number, and those people will be invited for in-person interviews at One Jets Drive, and then shortly thereafter, we will have a new defensive coordinator for the New York Jets. We'll talk about the names, my favorite, and why he's my favorite. We'll get into that as well, but we have a special guest, and these are the 3 most dangerous letters in Jets content creator land, baby. DKB. Yes, he's back, baby. Let's bring him here on the show on a Saturday morning. What's up, DKB?
What's a good word, Boy Green?
Woo-wee. What's a good word is that you've been blowing up. I'm surprised you remembered my phone number because look at this. DKB on YouTube is closing in on 3K, baby, in terms of the subscribers. So again, guys, right there on your screen, make sure you subscribe. That's youtube.com/@DKBXJets. Make sure you guys subscribe right now. So, wow, getting big time on me. Are you now, Mr. DKB?
I'm just playing catch up with you.
All right. That's hey, if you ever want to run for office, you've got the right lingo, pal. Look at this, baby. But make sure you support our fellow wonderful Jets content creator line. People are screaming DKB in the chat. It feels like I just introduced it in sort of a WWE style, and I'm seeing like the signs of the audience, DKB. Because like they didn't know you were going to come on the show. It's like, a little Jim Ross. By God, look who's here! Your entrance music just in. It's a little Royal Rumble-esque as we're getting here in January, and all of a sudden you're coming down to the ring. We got a little surprise entrance into the proverbial octagon here. So much appreciated, DKB. So we'll do a deep dive here in a second, but there is some love happening in the chat. Mother effing Chew gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Thank you, MFC. The second most dangerous 3 letters, perhaps, in the world of all Jets land. Not too shabby. A silver medal for you, MFC, and that is 11 raffle tickets for you, good sir. By the way, that membership went to, make sure I get it here in the audience, and then we'll dive into our defensive coordinators. FR_Kaz. You are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. God bless. I see we also have a super chat in here from Lou B. Super Jets fan, baby. Let's also get some of that action here on the program. Let's freaking go. And every time we get a super chat here from my beautiful daughter, Zariah Luna. Zariah, hit it.
Wow.
If Woody Johnson says Jim Leonhard, $6 million a year, 3 years up front, okay, he's already getting the contract together for old Jimmy Leonhard. We'll talk about Jimmy. I promise, Lou B. Appreciate the $2 super chat here on the program. You're now up to 11 raffle tickets yourself for our contest. You're doing a terrific job. We'll get into that. And DKB, before we start doing a deep dive on all these names, and like I said, I did a lot of research because I think people will be interested. Some people are going to see a lot of these names we talk about today. Let's throw up the graphic here for the people, okay? This is what the Jets spit out there on social media. And Lou B, we'll come back to your Jim Leonhard super chat. But here are the names. A lot of people are going to be like, who the hell are these people? There's some names that maybe the casual fan does not know. But we have information. We have intel. We'll give it all to you here. DKB, when you see this graphic come through the DKB household and you get a little bit of, what was your initial reaction?
You want the kid story or you want the truth?
Of course. I want the truth. Now, can I handle the truth? I guess we'll find out, but I want the truth, baby.
So this will be a really interesting time for us, right? Because
Mhm.
the work week was hell. I'm literally just seeing this interview list now.
Oh, wow. This is the first time. Okay. Well, let me
Yeah,
give
when you
you
said it when you were going through the intro, I was like, I knew what you were mentioning in
yeah.
the video because I thought we were just talking globally, like the names that we've always considered.
Oh,
I
I
had no idea
see.
this list got announced, so this
Oh,
is fun.
okay. We're about to get it raw right now. So, okay, let me give you a little bit more intel because of the pictures on the screen. So, I've written down all their positions. So, I'll give you a little bit more information for everyone here because some of you guys may not know these names as well. So, let me get through it. So, the Jets released this 8-person list yesterday. Again, all of these people that I'm about to introduce performed Zoom interviews with the Jets over the course of this week. These interviews have already happened. So, again, we didn't hear a lot of them reported because the Jets are moving in silence over there. But from this group, they're going to cut down this list of 8. So our defensive coordinator is somewhere in this 8, and they're going to cut it down to a few names. We'll see 3 or 4 maybe in-person interviews, and then they'll make a hire. So here they are. In no particular order. Matthew Arujo, he's the Miami Dolphins cornerbacks coach. Ephraim Banda, he's the Cleveland Browns safeties coach. DeMarcus Covington, he's the Green Bay Packers defensive line coach and run game coordinator. Durante Jones, the Minnesota Vikings defensive pass game coordinator and DB coach. Jim Leonhard, the Denver Broncos assistant head coach and defensive pass game coordinator. Wink Martindale, he's most recently the former Michigan defensive coordinator over the last 2 years. Chris Harris was in-house. He was most recently, of course, the interim DC for the Jets. And finally, Jim O'Neill, a not former, he is a current Detroit Lions defensive assistant. So this is the group. So booyah. Yeah, DKB, give it to me, baby.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting list, right? So if I'm
Mhm.
doing this off the top of my head, I
Sure.
still say we're looking at Jim Leonhard probably being at the top of most people's list,
Hmm.
and rightfully so. Pretty impressive resume with like how he's fast tracked his rise to stardom.
Hmm.
But there's a bit of a lack of experience there, right? So you can't just look at his career and say consistent success, 2, 3 years within this role. It's just he's done good to above average, maybe elite, depending on who you're talking to,
Hmm.
for the time that he spent in that role. So not to take anything away from him, right? But I'm just
Sure.
saying it's
Right.
the difference between him coaching for like 3 or 4 years versus someone else that has, 20 plus at their position, whatever that looks like. So I'd probably still go in some variation. Leonard,
Hmm.
Durante Jones,
Mm-hmm.
probably Wink.
Hmm.
Um, my initial thoughts probably go to like Jim O'Neill. Then it's what was it, Ephraim maybe.
Yep.
Then probably Matthew,
Okay.
Chris, and
DeMarcus.
there we go.
Okay. So here's some information. I'll give this to everyone. I've been doing a lot of research on this since yesterday because, again, I want people to have some more intel as we're sort of evaluating this list. So here is the age range. Age is just a number. I'm not judging anybody, but here's the age range of the people. I think it's kind of interesting as you go to this list. So the youngest guy on this list is the first guy I mentioned. He is Matthew Arujo. He's 32 years old. I mean, this is just a young guppy. Okay. And then I'll go chronologically in order. DeMarcus Covington is 36 years old. Jim Leonhard is 43. Chris Harris is 43. Ephraim Banda is 44. Jim O'Neill is 47. Durante Jones is 47. And Wink Martindale is 62. So the age range ranges from Matthew Ruggio at 32 to Wink Martindale at 62. That's the name on the list. 7 of the 8 names on this list have some level of defensive coordinator experience at some type of level. Arujo, the 32-year-old, has never been a defensive coordinator at any level. And then we should probably put an asterisk on Chris Harris because his defensive coordinator experience is all of 3 games. So technically, he really doesn't have any experience either on the list beyond these guys. But this is the experience ranking real quick. Wink Martindale has had 16 seasons as a defensive coordinator. Again, this could be at any level, college, pros, and we could get into some of the specifics later. Durante Jones is second on the list. He has 7 seasons of defensive coordinator experience. Jim Leonhard has had 6 seasons. Jim O'Neill, 6 seasons. Banda, 4 seasons. Covington, 2 seasons. Chris Harris, 3 games. And then Arujo, nothing. So that is, there's, when I gave all those numbers of 16, 7, 6, 6, 6, 4, 2, 3, those are just experience level in terms of being a defense coordinator from high school, college, NFL, at any level from that standpoint. And really, the 2 guys that have experience at the NFL level as a defensive coordinator is Wink Martindale and Jim O'Neill. Jim O'Neill feels a little bit like a dark horse here because he has a lot of connections to Aaron Glenn. He crossed over with him, of course, with the Detroit Lions. That happened. But also, if you study the history, he also was the defensive coordinator with the Cleveland Browns the same 2 seasons that Aaron Glenn was the assistant DB coach. So he worked directly under Jim O'Neill back then, and then vice versa. Aaron Glenn returned the favor, and O'Neill worked under him as a defensive assistant. So that's an interesting name that I don't know if a lot of people know, but there's some connective tissue there from that perspective. So those are the names, folks, and the next Jets DC will likely be someone from this group because the first round of interviews are complete, so they're going to chop down this list coming down in here. Yeah, go ahead, DKB.
What was your initial thoughts seeing this list?
So I get the Instagram alert, and normally I'm like, I don't pay attention to, I have it set apparently, but when the Jets do an Instagram alert, they're normally like, hey, did you know PFF had this random Jets player rank this? And I'm like, no, I didn't. So I normally don't pay attention to it, but I saw the alert. I'm like, you know what? Why are they sending an alert on a January 16th? Let me check. I went, holy shit. They released the full wave of defensive coordinators. I'm like, did they share it on Twitter? They didn't. So I screamed it for the rooftop. That's my biggest following. So I said, oh my God, Jets Twitter people, can you believe this? Here's this. And then I looked over the list. So I'd done a story on Arujo earlier in the day. So I knew his basic profile. Let me see. Durante Jones, we knew. So that was a week ago. We knew his story. So I was intimately familiar with him. Wink Martindale, we have heard the rumors, and we'll get more into those rumors in a little bit. But the name that stood out to me in a good way is, wow, Jim Leonhard is on here. And I want to make this perfectly clear, DKB. We'll come back to this list in a second. I want to make this perfectly clear for the absolute animals in the audience that say, oh, Paul, you just want it because he's a former Jet. Have a cup of shut the hell up, okay? That helps. That doesn't hurt. But that's not why I want Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard, to me, is the name that stood out on this list because he just checks a lot of boxes for me. This is a guy who's 43 years old. He played in the league for a decade. He was always champion for his smarts, being a super smart player coming out of Wisconsin. Shortly after his playing career, he got into coaching, and he just rose up the ranks so quick. He went to his alma mater of Wisconsin. He was a DB coach, and then booyah, from 2017 to 2022, he's a defensive coordinator and his old job of the DB coach. So he had a lot of experience as defensive coordinator. And then he was the interim head coach when a firing took place during that 2022 season. And then he's been with the Denver Broncos for the last 2 years. The thing I like about Jim is he's worked around smart minds. Vance Joseph has perhaps the best or one of the best defense in the NFL, and he's been around smart people. That I like. He's been a defensive coordinator before. That I like a lot, that he's been able to be in that role. And he has crossed over with every one of the Jets' key decision makers. For people that don't know, Jim Leonhard's final season in the NFL was in 2014 with the Cleveland Browns. That was Aaron Glenn's first year coaching. So they crossed over. The Venn diagram kiss there where Jim Leonhard came in and went out, and Aaron Glenn was just starting. So they crossed over there, which I find interesting. Of course, Leonhard crossed over with Darren Muji in Denver in 2024. So there's that. Sean Payton is Aaron Glenn's mentor, who hired Jim Leonhard in the first place. So there's that connective tissue. So former player, super smart, been around a smart defensive mind of Vance Joseph. So plucking fruit from the best. It's a copycat league. So I love that. So Jim Leonhard to me is the most intriguing. He's done the job before, not at the NFL level, of course. And he just has this, he sort of has to me, and this is maybe unfair, but Chris Banjo upside. Like you take a chance on this guy at the NFL level, and maybe it's just rocket fuel. So he's my favorite name on the list, DKB.
No, I think It's a tough projection or like comp to make, right? But I think it makes sense because the appeal with Chris Banjo was also like, look at who he grew up under, right? Look at who he learned from, especially in the special teams world.
Mhm.
That's a lot smaller than coming up on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. Um, Plus, if you want to expand like just the Chris Banjo talk even farther, right? It's like look at Harbaugh, right? He was a special teams guy.
Sure, right, right.
He was the one that understood how things worked globally and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, with Jim Leonard, I think there's just a ton of appeal, and it's not the common like, oh, we have centers that suck. Let's get Nick Mangold in the coaching staff, and he'll help figure it out. Or
Yeah.
let's get Bart Scott back out here, and make sure we can get Jamin Sherwood and Quincy back on track. It's a much different conversation. He's actually physically doing the work. He's actually excelling out there within his role. And he's actually grown up under, as you pointed out, a lot of these top tier minds that
Mhm.
it's not like there have been flashes in the pan. Sean Payton, historically great. Going to Wisconsin, prestigious. What are they?
Mm.
Power five, right?
Yeah,
Or
right.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So top tier programs, top tier defensive minds. He's been introduced to different schemes. So a lot of the conversation I seen initially was like, well, he'll want to come in and run a 3-4. And I'm like, well, not necessarily.
Mhm.
Right. And if he actually learned anything from these defensive coaches, we've seen them adjust their schemes and mold things based on who they had available. And right now, things scream that we're probably still working better as a 4-3 and not a 3-4. But I would still say if I'm objectively looking at recency bias, so let's just say the last 10 years, because obviously Wink would have a lot more stuff we could look at. But if we're
Right,
looking at
right.
the last 10 years, the resume that still impressed me the most, and I'd have to go back and look at a ton of these guys, but it sounds like there's not a ton of experience out there.
Mhm.
Durante Jones was still the guy that had the most consistent success to me. And I seen a lot of pushback when I did my breakdown. And even when I was just chatting with people about why they felt like he wouldn't work. And I would, of course, you rarely do from just the casual fans as a whole, but for the most part, nobody could pick apart why he would be a bad hire other than it's another first time DC. And I'm like, look at what he's done, especially being a position coach.
Mhm.
It's rare to see a guy that can consistently finish for his position, because that's all he's tasked to do for his job, a top 10 unit, almost signed in ink that he's
Mhm.
going to have them performing at the top of whatever division, whatever conference, etc. that he's in. And he's also been able to one of the appeals with Durante for me too is that he's been at so many different destinations. He has a ton of connections, just like Aaron Glenn. So
Mhm.
in my mind, this is kind of what you want. If you're an organization, you've been struggling, especially in year one, but you feel like you can get this thing turned around extremely quick. You have all these draft picks, you have the cap space, etc. Get the guy in who's consistently demonstrated that he can kill it at his position. DC's going to be a step up because he's doing it globally, but he's also been able to train under a few different positions.
Mhm.
And he has a wealth of connections. So now you don't just have to rely on the AG saying, okay, let me get the DC. We feel the DC is right. Then he still has to go in and replace his coaching staff, right? Durante Jones can piece his mind together and say, look, here's all the guys in the collegiate and NFL ranks that I've worked with that I feel really, really good about. Let's, cross pollinate and see what, things look like and how you feel. And whether you leave it up to me, whether we piece the minds together, whether Darren Muji's also involved, and we really get this list going, you get maximum exposure,
Mhm.
and you see what happens from there. But the list is odd to me. I will admit, I thought there'd
Okay.
be more proven candidates on there. I think I'd
Mhm.
say.
Yeah.
But I've seen a couple people in the chat point out too, like how what is the question here? How much did we really expect that we were going to be able to get someone to come into this job that had a decent pedigree, right? And I think that is a valid question.
Yeah, it definitely is. And again, I was curious because, right, because AG, this gives us a peek into the mind of AG, seeing these 8 people in front of us here. What was he thinking? Who was he thinking? We could get into schematics, but again, I think some of that's gonna we'll see what happens with some of these guys. But So a couple of things here. First off, Durante Jones. I love your breakdown of Durante. Again, to be a top loot, I love the Brian Flores defense. I love whatever he's cooking over there. And to get a top lieutenant under him is something that I'm very intrigued by. And then again, go to his positional responsibility and see the success level there. That is very intriguing. So Durante, and for those who don't know, Durante is the second most experienced, obviously under Wink. Wink is the most experienced of any of these guys on the list. He's the biggest name, of course. Durante has 7 seasons of defensive coordinator experience. Now, that is at a variety of levels, of course, and not the NFL, but he has 7 seasons of experience, and I do like sort of that roundabout resume. I want to go to somebody on the DKB channel. Let me throw this guy up. Harry W50. All right, Harry, did some DKB subscriber extraordinaire. He says, I thought Harbaugh was hiring Jim Leonhard. Hell, the Giants haven't even hired Harbaugh. We're talking about his staff? We're talking about practice? Whoa! The Yankees didn't even try that contract. Whoa! We're all like, I thought Harbaugh was going to get Jim Leonhard. I thought the Giants were going to hire Harbaugh. It's been like, 72 hours since, we got him. Folks, we got him. Did you? I don't know. The last time I checked, it's not official. So before we start worrying about the Harbaugh staff, maybe they should start worrying about in-house. Maybe they need to look in the mirror and say, we need to get our stuff on lock over here. So I did hear some of those rumors in all seriousness, Harry, but to be honest, here's the thing. Jim Leonhard is the only name of this list that I threw up that's still alive in the playoffs. So what does that mean? Folks, there are rules to be had here. I mentioned all these 8 interviews on your screen happened over Zoom. In-person interviews can happen with all these guys except Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard's in the playoffs. He can't have an in-person interview yet because his team's still alive in the playoffs. So this will be an interesting test case, right? Obviously, AG thought of Jim Leonhard to even have him on this list. But if the Broncos beat the Bills, and we will find out today, that's a first NFL playoff game today. If the Broncos beat the Bills, then he will be continuously unavailable up until after the divisional round. So an in-person interview can happen even with them advancing. I'll grab the rules in a second so you guys can see it, so we can break it all down. But long story short, that's going to delay a little bit of the process with him winning. I'll have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure after the divisional round, we could get some of those in-person flying in. But it'll be up to Jim. Does he want to balance his role as Broncos guy in interviewing that's coming in here? So we will see. So Harbaugh hasn't even been hired yet, so I am worried about all that. But here, I knew this was coming. I don't know if you remember him from last time, DKB, but we have Alon in the chat. Let's go to Alon here, who says Leonhard took the interview because he wanted just practice before he takes a defensive coordinator under a real head coach. So here it is, right? So we have people in the chat going, these names are unimpressive. And I'm like, but Jim Leonhard. And they're like, it was a fluke. That's the only reason he was in here. So we refuse to give AG any respect for picking his guys. And if he found a guy, people were just going to claim this. I knew it. I should have written it on a piece of paper in an envelope and taped it right here. And then when it came time, let me see what I wrote in the note a week ago, because I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. And Alon, I knew you were going to be the orchestrator. I knew you were going to be the puppeteer, the maestro behind the scenes, spinning this narrative. Let's see what happens. Because here's another thing. We won't have time to do it on the show tomorrow because I'm going to have an NFL insider on, so we'll do it now. I'll have the full column out later today. I don't know if you know this, DKB, but the Cowboys and Jets have interviewed a lot of the same names. I think it may be 4 or 5 from our list. Again, I'll have it in the full column out later today for Heavy on Jets, but it's 4 or 5 names. So we're competing for a lot of the same guys that they're about to bring in for in-person interviews. According to NFL insider Josina Anderson, the Cowboys are ready to move. Like, they want to start locking this in. And if they're trying to lock this in and they're moving quick, that could benefit the Jets if they're interested in the Jim Leonhard ballpark. Because some of their in-person interviews that are coming up are Jonathan Gannon. I think Durante Jones made the next round of the in-person interviews. So they're moving in a direction. And a lot of people assume Jim Leonhard's going to Jerry World. But if they're moving quick and we've got this Jim Leonhard thing in the playoffs, maybe if the Jets are patient, they were patient with AG, right? As the Lions kept winning and moving around all over the place, that paused some things for a little while. So maybe that could be a factor. So that's who we're competing with.
Yeah, I don't think having to wait on Aaron Glenn sucked because we just understand the massive undertaking that it is to try to piece an entire coaching staff together.
Mm-hmm.
With the DC, I feel like you could wait, right? And this, that may not be true necessarily, and I think everybody
Okay.
has at least 3 or 4 position coaches on the defensive side of the ball. We also feel like we need to turn over, right? So it's like we don't really know position coaches and which of these coaches know who that they want to pull in. Um,
Hmm.
so maybe that's a hindrance, right? Let's just go crazy here and say, yeah, we do land a Jim Leonhard after they win a Super Bowl potentially or whatever that looks like, and we have to wait till February. Um, that's not to say that Jim Leonhard still couldn't pull in everybody that he wanted at the positions or that he felt comfortable with, whatever that looks like. So if you're the Jets, if you're Aaron Glenn, you kind of have to go for broke here. Whoever you feel like is the best candidate is the one that you target, and that's who you go after. And you're basically looking for a Hail Mary right now. And based on that candidate
Hmm.
list, it's not like you have a absolute no duh. There's no Jim Schwartz that's up there. I guess Wink could be that,
Hmm.
depending on who you're talking to, but there's not a can't miss guy up there. There's guys that you might really like, people you feel really good about. But to your point again, we'll probably be waiting, right? If that ends up being the case. So I do recall seeing, and I'm pretty sure you probably would have seen the same thing by now then, that
Hmm.
who was it? It was I think it was from the Athletic show when I was checking them out, but they mentioned that the Jets. Oh, it was Rich Samini. Sorry, he mentioned the timeline being late January for when they were looking
Yes,
to complete the hire anyway. So
correct. Right.
kind of falls in line with potentially, seeing what happens with Jim Leonhard and all this other
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah, it does. And again, this is it from the Athletic. I wanted to get this up here. It says head coaches, but I believe this also is the coordinator rules as well. So we'll pay attention to the ones that are happening for this week that's coming up now. Head coaching interviews can begin with candidates who coach in Saturday or Sunday games, which was a couple days ago, and same thing for head coaching interviews with candidates who coached in the Monday Night Wildcard game. So as we're now progressing into divisional rounds, so those things are about to open up here. So for that as well. But let's get into a couple of things here. And look at that, everybody. I love all the interactions, by the way, that are going on right now. Again, let me give another friggin' plug, baby. Plug this baby in. DKB. Come on now. That's a YouTube channel right there on my screen. We'll also drop that link in directly on YouTube so you guys can click on over. Again, this man is on the precipice. He's on the goal line. He's Brees Hall trying to get 1,000 yards, for God's sakes. But this time it's 3,000. Okay, 3,000 subs. Let's get this guy. Let's push him over the goal line. Let's do a little tush push action. All right, and let's get into the end zone here. So let's help my brother from another mother here get some activity flowing. Now, let's get to Wake Martindale, who is, boy, he is a polarizing name to a lot of Jet fans, but I just want to throw this out there from Rich Cimini. He gave a new nugget on the Wink Martindale stuff, which just shows you how real this is. Yesterday, after the list came out, Rich Smitty said that Wink was an early target for Aaron Glenn. They talked before the season ended. So Chris Harris took over for the Jets with 3 games left to play in the regular season. So after he fired Wilkes, he being AG fired Wilkes, he already was talking to Wink. And Wink, again, as we've already talked about, is the most experienced guy on this list. 16 seasons of defensive coordinator experience at a variety of levels from college to the NFL. How do you feel about Wink? Because depending on who you ask, there's a lot of influential Jets content creator people that say he sucks. And then the brainwashed zombies are like, oh, he sucks, he sucks, he sucks. And I think sometimes we need to have some individuality here on the program and have some depth thoughts here of it's not just black or white. This guy sucks. Oh, he's great. Sometimes there's some activity in between, and he's clearly the most experienced guy on this list.
Yeah, no, I think you can't take things away from people that have achieved stuff, right? Even if it was a fleeting moment, right? Matt Flynn still threw 6 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That kind of stuff matters to people. Wink has you don't earn the chance of having 15 plus years of DC experience because people think you're trash. So obviously the concepts people like, this scheme, being able to look at it on film, it makes sense. It works. You see the productivity out of people throughout the entirety, which is, I think, the most important thing here as well, right? It's not just like you're only seeing certain units excel, and you're also kind of getting that instant coffee, as we've heard from Robert Saleh a billion times. You actually get that out of his scheme more times than not when it comes to players that looked like they were, unplayable, or they were just having a downward spiral in their career, etc. He comes in, suddenly these guys, cool, they're at least playable in the very worst, if not better. So if you look at the Ravens days, I think that's where most people are going to hone in on, and they're going to say,
Mhm.
okay, well, look at this. Top five, defenses for, 3 out of the 4 years, or I think it was top 7 overall, but a top 10 defense for 3 of the 4 years that he was there. And even when things fell off, it wasn't off a cliff. I think he was in the high 20s.
Mhm.
The Giants didn't go as well, but then when you look at the talent that he had there, kind of overachieved, right? You're talking about a lot of rookies, veterans that were cast-offs from everywhere else. It's not like the Giants spent a lot of money on that defense, and he was able to create some names and establish some names there, right? So, and then even with Michigan, I think he gets a potential. It wasn't a Heisman candidate. I forget the award, but he turned a linebacker into one of the premier talents out
Oh,
there.
they had a ton of NFL talent, right? Not Kenneth Gainwell, Kenneth Grant, and they had a couple of those guys that were first round picks, second round picks. Colston, the kid, Colson, the linebacker for the Chargers. Like, there's a bunch of guys. I did a story when the first Wing stuff came out. He has pumped up a ton of NFL. Again, I don't know what you in the universe want to judge for what you think are the merits of a guy, but
Mhm.
those are some of the things I was looking for. Okay, what kind of talent did he pump out to the NFL during his run at Michigan the last 2 years? That was one of the things I immediately looked at. That feels like a tangible stat, you know?
No, that's important. The piece that nobody cares about until things start going bad is, what does the development look like under a DC, right? Steve Wilkes, nobody, right? I mean, maybe you
Nobody.
point to Jawan Briggs, but I don't know. I prefer to try to pretend that didn't exist. But with Wink, it's pretty clear, right? He's done it at the NFL level. He's done it at the collegiate level. I do like the fact that he spent some time recently with Michigan at the college ranks, because you have to get a lot more creative. It's turning into kind of that NFL developmental league, if you will, that we always expected college to be without NILs changing things. So having someone that has to be around the defensive minds in the college ranks that are being able to produce these top tier teams is important. Um, and one of the things that really captured me was the story they dropped about his tenure with the Ravens, right? John Harbaugh, he loses the playoffs in 2017. He looks at his staff, looks at the team, says that we need a complete overhaul, right? We need an evolutionary mindset. We need to get things changing. And this is kind of where I think you start to see like Brian Flores, still some ideals from too. And just that whole thing is intriguing. But essentially, Harbaugh talks to his defensive staff, which was crazy, by the way, at the time when I went back and looked at the list. It was like Zach Orr and a number of other names out there under Wink. But he told Wink he needs him to essentially create the offensive version of defense, meaning we want to be able to present all the same looks, and any number of different things can happen. And we can essentially audible on defense as needed too, and it won't completely shut down our defense. And that really stuck with me, right? Because he's still, what, he would have been in his late 40s, I think, with the Ravens still. So it's
Mhm.
like, you're not talking about a guy that's too far gone over the hill, right? We're going to see him forgetting what his last name is in a couple of years, but he's been able to take part in a huge change to that Ravens defense. He's been able to, make Top Chef ramen out of whatever he had from a recipe with the Giants. And then he goes to Michigan and he's still having success. The only thing that really causes me concern with Wink is the fact that he's not going to get head coach looks. So you're really just waiting for him to flame out with Aaron Glenn at some point. And we've seen that Michigan and with the Giants, how those two relationships ended. So I get a little bit curious about how potential fallout and turmoil could happen if the Jets do start looking, like we saw with Steve Wilkes at some point for whatever reason under Wink. but it would be a quality hire. I think that's the black and white of it, in my opinion. It's not that you couldn't find better, but for who was available to you, who had the mutual interest, all that kind of stuff, this is one of the better alignments that Aaron Glenn could look for if he still liked the idea of how the process with Steve Wilkes worked, and that just wasn't the right hire, right experience, etc.
No, I agree. And by the way, for those asking, chicken flavor is my favorite ramen of choice. Since we're bringing up ramen,
Really,
had that
nobody
last
likes
week.
chicken.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's delicious. It's terrific. You know, the seasoning's nice, and my fiance does perhaps a special seasoning blend of sorts if it needs extra, and make sure I'm well taken care of. So yeah, let's get some more love on the ramen flow. If we can. Shout out to the 300 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video and show your support for both DKB and Boy Green. Speaking of, baby, we are 3 subscribers away from 8,300, baby. So make sure you guys join the train. Toot, toot. Here on the program. Appreciate you. Again, 3 subscribers away. We'll see if we can get that live here in the middle of the program. Now, I would just say this on Wink. I think and we were talking about this off air, DKB, before the show started. I think he's sort of a poor man's Rex Ryan. I mean, he's aggressive. He's in your face. He's got a lot of personality, where he's a little party up front, business in the back with his mullet action and cut off sleeves. And again, I've talked about this before. It's like fantasy football. Matthew Berry does this for one of his columns every year, where I'll start with the fantasy football example for anyone who's a Matthew Berry fan. He puts out an article and says, I'm going to give you 2 players, player A and player B. Player A, he destroys the shit out of him. Look at this loser. He sucks at this. It's awful. And look at player B. He's top 10 in this. And then after he gives the blind resumes, he's like, which player would you prefer? And people go, oh, clearly player B. And Matthew Berry goes, they're the same player. They're the same player. I just highlighted a bunch of shit that I didn't like about one guy and highlighted a bunch of shit I loved about the other guy. Same player, but he just shows that example every year to go, see, I fucked your mind. You hear certain stuff and you can highlight with anyone in your life the things that they bring to you and ignore all the bad stuff, or vice versa. Like Wink Martindale, when he was last with the Giants, #1 in takeaways. We're begging for takeaways. We're in the streets begging for loose change. Can I get a fumble recovery? An interception, perhaps? And we got a lot of no, get lost, get a job, pal. So we didn't get a lot of takeaways. And this guy led the friggin' league in takeaways in 2023 with the Giants. Now, were all the other numbers great? No, they weren't. But like, he's aggressive. He has an identity. He's in your face. He blitzes a lot. Now, the blitz to success rate isn't always clean, especially recently in some of those metrics. But the takeaways to me is a big one, and the aggression, which I think obviously vibes with what Aaron Glenn would want, the experience. Again, I said it in this way, DKB. I'm curious if you agree. I like the thought process of Steve Wilkes. I thought it was the right church, the wrong pew. He hired the wrong guy, obviously. Wilkes sucked and didn't do very well. But I don't think that should be, well, clearly I shouldn't have gone with an experienced guy. No, I just think you picked the wrong guy. He stunk. But you shouldn't be afraid of going experience again for the right experienced guy. Everyone was drooling for Jim Schwartz in the audience, and I would have loved Jim Schwartz. Obviously, he wasn't taking parallel DC jobs because he's still under contract with Cleveland, so that couldn't have happened. But like, I just thought that we shouldn't be afraid of experience because experience didn't work with Wilkes. So I'm not afraid of the Wink hire. A lot of people are afraid of the hire, think it would be terrible, and clearly the bottom of the list. And I think for those people, are just being way overreaction. You're telling me, bring up this list again, Wink would be worse than, with all due respect, Chris Harris, who's held the job? That would be an incredibly underwhelming hire, with all due respect, Chris, if you were the hire, because you've never done it before. And again, it's not fair to you that the last 3 games sucked. What could you have possibly changed over such a short period of time? But to me, that'd be underwhelming for AG to just go in-house and say, we had the answers inside these doors the entire time. It's Chris. That would be a hard thing to sell, even though he would have a chance to do it. But there's no way Wink is last on this list of these guys. Matthew Arujo is 32 years old, and he said, I found this story. It's crazy because a lot of people didn't know anything about Arujo. He took a defensive coordinator job at Maine, with all due respect, Maine. And then when he was getting ready for the job, randomly out of nowhere, the Miami Dolphins called and says, hey, you want to come to the NFL? He's like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. Sure, yes. And when he did an interview with the local paper, he's like, I was show shocked. I was like, the NFL, I didn't even know this was possible. Sure. And he just jumped to the NFL. This guy just randomly went to the NFL by a whim from a call. He was going to be at Maine, for God's sake. And you're telling me Wink is worse than this 32-year-old? Again, I've used whatever the Vegas over or under was, drink people, for Paul saying, oh, with all due respect, you're on the show. Whoop. Okay. But like, come on, man. The just disrespect for Wink is a little uncomfortable here.
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to fall into the pit trap of groupthink, but yeah, I think overall Steve Wilkes does, and I would agree, right? I think first and foremost, the process and the thinking through of that first DC hire with Steve Wilkes, it made all the sense in the world. I'm new, my OC is new. I've already put this memo out there that I'm not just a defensive guy. I'm a coach, and I happen to know about both sides. I've spent time actively working on this. So he positioned himself to be this CEO type guy that globally I can understand, I can speak to, I can do all of the things. And what would help me most in staying in that role is to have an experienced DC. Perfectly fine with that. Steve Wilkes ended up being crap. So, wah. But that wouldn't give me any hindrance into saying why not Wink Martindale, right? I think that's still another smart, savvy move. It aligns even better with what Aaron Glenn actually wants to do, because Steve Wilkes has always been a guy that, which maybe that would have been my red flag going back and thinking about it. Steve Wilkes has been a guy that kind of seems like he's had to bend the knee at the last couple spots he's been at, where it's like, I can't bring in my own scheme. You already have something installed that you want me to run, and I'm saying I think I can get that done. And even with the Jets case, from my understanding, we've seen Aaron Glenn kind of push off that this was his scheme. When they was announced, we've kind of heard them say, oh, it's going to be a combination of, what we both, I think, is ideal and all this stuff. So Steve Wilkes, Wink Martindale and AG, I don't think you'll get that, right? Again, Giants, I think 2023, he led the league in blitz rate. 2024, I think he was second. And that came with a ton of sacks for the most part. It came with a ton of pressures. It came with the takeaways that you mentioned. It came with seeing the rise of a Kayvon Thibodeau. And then after him leaving, you see the fall off there. There's a few other names that you can throw in just from a developmental standpoint that looks good. You can't discount now with the Dante Moore news that I'm sure Wink is looking at an Arvell Reese or, someone of that ilk, and he's like, yeah, neocortex. I can do all the evil mastermind things. So there's a lot of allure. There's a lot of benefits, I think, to that piece of being able to bring him in. And if we finish, 13th overall as a defense next year and things look drastically different, I don't think anybody's going to look back and say, well, why wasn't it Jim Leonhard still?
Yeah, right. I don't think that would happen again. Jim Leonhard's my number one guy, but I'll take 13th for 500, Alex. I do want to clear up something. I misspoke earlier. I was talking about the coordinators on that list that have defensive coordinator experience at the NFL level. I says, obviously, Wink, who, everyone is pretty aware of what Wink was able to do. Jim O'Neill is another one. I did mention him. He has defensive coordinator experience at the NFL level. He also worked for the Jets during the Rex Ryan years. For those who didn't know that, he was the assistant DB coach from 2010 to 2012, where he crossed over with Rex. So he had some of that. He was a defensive coordinator for the Browns in 2014, 2015. He crossed over with Aaron Glenn during that time. He was a 49ers defensive coordinator in 2016, and also is a defensive coordinator at the college level, but that was Northwestern. But he has multiple years of experience. But the guy I forgot to mention is DeMarcus Covington. So he was a co-defensive coordinator in college at Eastern Illinois, but he was actually the Patriots defensive coordinator for that old Gerard Mayo season. So a big salute to, I don't know if that's something he wanted me to highlight on his resume, but I just wanted to put it out there for old DeMarcus Covington. He is another guy that had some of that activity as well. So a shout out to DeMarcus, who again is also on this list. And again, there are some interesting young guys. Again, these are swings. Again, Ephraim Banda, the kid from I don't want to call him a kid, he's older than me, but the 44-year-old from the Cleveland Browns. Again, he Jim Schwartz. That's again the other thing I sort of look at here when I'm looking through this list before we go to the phone lines here, DKB, is I start looking through these guys, and you go to Banda, he was around Jim Schwartz. Love that. That's terrific. I want him around that. We talked about Jim Leonhard already, Vance Joseph, and obviously Sean Payton being around those guys you love. So you start Durante Jones, we brought up with Brian Flores. You start going through some of these guys, and they've been around smart people now. Just because a stupid person's around a smart person doesn't mean his IQ jumps 5 points, but it can only help, I would imagine, to be around smarter defensive minds. So just another piece of the puzzle I wanted to highlight real quick. Is there anything else, DKB, you wanted to say about any of these other names or really anything about this DC search in general?
Yeah, I guess I would just be curious. Are you surprised that we hadn't seen more of the up and coming names as well? I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but like the defensive pass game coordinator from the Eagles, Chris
Yes.
something.
Yep.
Who else was out there, right? Well, I guess in general, right? I'd probably have to piece together the names again, but I'm surprised that some of these names, like the Banda and these guys that we're hearing about, that are a lot more fresh, are on this list as opposed to having these guys like the Eagles who are already out. So there's not a reason to wait or anything like that.
Sure, right.
And that this is the list that they kind of honed in on, because this to me screams that Wink Martindale is up there because of the experience factor, and Aaron Glenn obviously loves what he's bringing. But everything else says that they kind of want someone a little younger. They've done just enough that you have a good sample size of things they can look at from a scheme standpoint, and they're willing to bet on the upside if the guy is doing well in interviews.
Yeah, I mean, some of it came earlier, and I tried to push back on this earlier in the offseason because – and this thought that, like, so in the media world, Aaron Glenn's ass is on the hot seat. Like, boy, if he has a rough year, he's going to be fired. According to all us bozos. Like, the only one's opinion that matters is Woody Johnson. How on the hot seat is AG? Woody didn't, and again, I'm not saying I want to make this clear. I'm not saying I'm satisfied with the 3-14 year. Wow, that was great. Give me more, please. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying everyone just assumes that he's on the hot seat. Woody's the one that makes these decisions. And Woody put out a statement on Monday saying, hey, guys, don't worry. He's safe. Why? Because I don't think he felt like he had to. He's like, of course he's safe. He's heading into year 2 of a 5-year deal. Of course he's safe. What the hell are you people talking about in the audience here? But the list would seem to suggest, when you sort of boil it down, even though, like I said, I like some of these names on this list, that they didn't get the Chris from the Eagles. And I know there's a couple of them, and the names are escaping me. I should have put down the hotshot list that a lot of people were hunting for this offseason in that cycle. But I would say that some of that may be that people perceive, even if perception is not reality or is reality, that AG's a lame duck guy, and that if he has a shitty season, they're all going to be fired. And while assistant coaches' contracts are guaranteed, just like these other contracts of getting their money, like, the fact of the matter is that people don't want to just be moving around for no reason. So, you look at this list and you boil it down, right? Because Jim O'Neill has a direct relationship with AG, so that's cool. Chris Harris, why wouldn't he have interviewed for the job? He makes sense to be on the list. Obviously, AG's got a good relationship, or has, general football respect for Wink that he was able to sort of get in his ear. Jim Leonhard, I think, is universally a rising coach that everyone really loves. And then some of the other names on the list, for people that didn't know who they were before a Google search when the Jets were interviewing them, we're in some different territory here. So I would assume that the reason he didn't get some of the names that were on people's hit list, Will Parkinson has put out a lot of them on social media. I've seen of young guys that he wanted that you're a year early on. I would just assume that it's the current Jet situation. That would be my only reason why they didn't get some of them. But we're never going to – maybe we will know, but I don't know. I would assume we're never going to know the people that said, Jets, go pound sand, buddy. Like when they – were they 8 for 8? Was this AG's wish list? Was these the 8 men on planet Earth that he identified? The 7 Dragon Balls with an and one layup to the lane here. These are the 8 Dragon Balls he selected here of like, oh yeah, baby, these are the chosen ones. Or was it list 15 and he ended up with 8? Like, see, these are some of the things that I'm not so sure of. So But again, it's going to be one of these names. So, folks, if I don't think my YouTube poll allows 8 options. If it did, I'd let you guys vote on who you think is going to be the next DC here. But we're going to find that out here shortly, sooner rather than later. I would imagine we'll see again, unless they hold out for old Jim Leonhard there. Which again, I'm sure they want to do an in-person interview before finishing off that process. I just want them to get the right guy. So if we find out tomorrow, great. If in a week from now or 2 weeks from now, I just want the right guy. And there's still, while we all think of everything in urgent times and urgent things, we've got the Senior Bowl later this month. A month from that, we got the Combine. 2 weeks after that, we have free agency. There's still time to figure all this out. Again, I'm sure everyone wants their defensive coordinator yesterday, but again, just get the hire right. I think that is the most important piece of the puzzle. DKB, before we go to the phone lines, come on, plug some content, baby. What the hell do you got cooking over there, DKB?
Yeah, well, I guess now diving back into some defensive coordinators with some breakdowns. I did a mock draft very early this year, which is unusual
nice.
for me, but potentially now that we know, quarterback is whatever it's going to be, maybe another mock draft for fun. And then everything else now is going to be jumping into this cycle of every offseason. I've been trying to learn more stuff about what it looks like to try to scout some of these guys coming out of college. So I'll start piecing together probably positional breakdowns for some of these guys I think we could target, and that'll kick off a lot of my off season at that point.
All right, we're going to have to get Scout DKB on this channel a little bit more often, baby. Okay, we need some insights into all things draft, baby, because again, it's the thing everyone hears as a Jets fan before they go to sleep. All right, let's do this, folks. We've got over 300 people in the room, which we appreciate. We're about to open up the phone lines here on the program. If you're over on the DKB channel, DKB can share this link over, I suppose, as well. Or if you can see it on my side as we're cross-streaming this, you guys can feel free to call in as well. No matter where you are, if you're a first-time caller or repeat offender, all are welcome here on the program. We'll take a quick hep timeout, and then your phone calls next, react to this DC list and anything else that's on your mind. We'll be right back after this.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Bowling Green, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Moron! Bowling Green, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone, J-E-T-S. Jets! Boy Green, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily, Buzzing Daily. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets! Let's go!
Oh, yeah, baby. We got to get DKB to the next one. That was our tailgate from week 5, Jets-Cowboys, before we were slaughtered at MetLife Stadium. But I enjoyed the party beforehand. That was a real hoot. We'll be once again doing that. We had over 60 Jet fans all come out to a game where we all got to commiserate and hang out together. It was a good old fun time. We love that. And look at this super chat coming in from the guy who was catering all the food at that event. That was Chef Kevin Gilbert, baby.
Wow.
Good morning, BG. We need more DKB. I couldn't agree more. I went on the menu and said, man, what am I craving? I'm like, oh, of course. I've had DKB withdrawals. Have to get him back on the program. So that is something we got to keep cooking. I enjoy every time DKB is on this channel. There you go. Getting some love from Chef Kevin Gilbert, baby.
Yeah, hopefully I do a good enough job. I get something on the menu one day.
Okay, hey, that'd be good. Yeah, 100%. That's what everyone's shooting for. We had that come up again. 7 raffle tickets for you, Chef Kevin Gilbert, aka Fastest Food Reviews. That's what everyone was sort of when we were putting this together. And we put a menu together. Let me see. I think I still have the image. Let me see if I can grab this real quick from the backlogs of the computer from earlier. Let's see. Do I have the Do I have the menu? Oh, I do. Okay, so let me see. Let me throw this up. This was Chef Kevin Gilbert's menu from our October tailgate, right? So it's hard to see, but some of these names had like BG Sunday Tradition. So like I got on the menu. I didn't request this. I want this to be clear. Chef Kevin Gilbert just surprised me with this and said, "Hey," because every Sunday I go to a diner here in New York and I get basically a breakfast burger, egg over easy, bacon on it, with some crispy potatoes on the side, and then when you bite into the egg, the beautiful rich yolk runs across on the burger, and then you can dip the crispy potatoes in there, but you don't want to leave them in there too long where they're like get damp and soggy, but you want enough to just get that rich yolk taste, baby. And oh yeah, so Woody got on here with his Woody's BBQ beer slider. EZD got on there. He didn't even go to the tailgate for God's sakes, and he got on the menu. So yeah, we'll have to see, DKB, if we can connect the dots, get you and the fam out there for one of these Jet games. So we talked about it before. We'll see if we could check that off the bucket list. So more details to come on our next detailed live event. That's for sure. Hey, we got some DKB super chat action happening here on the program, baby. I don't know normally what you play for, but I'll do it for you.
Wow.
All right, Gator McCluskey rules, please. DKB, read it out to the audience.
Yeah, let's go. So, with the limited quarterback talent available in the draft and free agency, what quarterback out there might save Glenn's job in 2026? A surprise trade candidate.
Okay, you want to answer this one first, DKB?
Yeah, I think that's the key, right? The way that I've kind of viewed this is if you're Woody Johnson, what are reasonable expectations? Turn the defense around, right? Let's talk about at least getting to league average.
Sure.
Offensively, you're still handicapped. You took the swing on Justin Fields, which made all the sense in the world to me. It's a lottery ticket option from a talent perspective, one of the best quarterbacks available, even if there was, holes in his game, etc. This cycle, none of that, right? So the initial conversation becomes in free agency, what's really going to be available, and the options there aren't inspiring, right? I think it's like Jimmy Garoppolo maybe leads the list of a short list of candidates, one that's available and two that have some level of decent play. If you want to talk about the
Yeah, just one name I just want to sprinkle in there that I think is going to hit the market based on his contract restructure is Kirk Cousins. I don't know how you feel about old Captain Kirk, but the Falcons did a recent structure where they're going to have to make a decision by March 13th. So basically it sounds like no one will trade for that option bonus they're putting in there. So it sounds like they're sort of setting up for him to be cut when the new Falcons regime comes in, and it looks like the favorite is Kevin Stefanski for that role. So Kirk seems like now again, now it's a personal taste question. Back to the menu. Do you want some Kirk Cousins action or not? I guess it's up to you. But he seems to be beyond Jimmy, obviously, because Jimmy's been sort of a resident backup for the last couple of years. That Kirk, if that intrigues you, could be a surprise free agent addition that sort of pops into the mix.
Yeah, this is the struggle I would assume most Jets fans would have when they play and envision him being a head coach or a GM. I wouldn't rock with Kirk Cousins. You can't milk me for money to go elsewhere. And then a couple years down the line, we're back in the same spot. And now you gotta beg each other basically to try to make something happen.
Touche.
But it would make a ton of sense, right? I think just from a talent perspective, what he can still do, the veteran leadership, etc. I don't know if he's necessarily the right mentor, which is why I don't necessarily really consider him.
Okay, that's a good thought.
I think he's kind of been spurned not only by like the Michael Penix experience, but even having to wait for like the turn with RG3 and all this stuff. I don't think he would go in there and have who's the quarterback I remember hearing about that was like,
I know another, I don't know who you were about to say, but I know another bad example was Joe Flacco with Baltimore when Lamar got drafted. Oh my God. The things that and Ben Roethlisberger was another one. He ripped out. He's like, it's not my fucking job and then everyone went, whoa, buddy. Oh, easy there, pal. So yeah, him, and I guess it's an AFC North thing. I don't know. But yeah, Joe Flacco, like the things he said about Lamar, a lot of it was like, dude, like, whoa, easy there, pal. Big Ben too. He was another one on that group that was like, on the mentor thing. Ooh, not so sure.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these Aaron Rodgers, obviously, right? Jordan Love. It's like there's obvious situations out there where these guys still feel like they could do something in the league, and why should I have to push my opportunity to show whatever it is I want to show to have this 20-year-old punk, come in and oohs and ahs because of what he did in college with, open windows. So again, I think this is very dependent on Woody Johnson. If you're looking at it from the standpoint of how does Aaron Glenn keep his job and what he has control over, get your defense back to a decent spot because we hired you for your defensive acumen, and then hopefully we got to experience all the other stuff. But for quarterbacks, it's tough. I think honestly, we're looking at the trade market, and I don't know how willing Darren Muji will be necessarily to give up anything within those first 2 days.
Yeah, to answer this Gator question from, again, the DKB channel. Thanks for supporting my guy DKB Gator. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean the free agency options are fledgling. The town and the draft. There's not a guy right now, and again, it's important to say right now, if the draft was today, it doesn't seem like there's a quarterback that's going number 2 overall. Could that change with the combine and the magic of the pre-draft process and supply and demand and like us trying to manifest it will into existence? So I'm like, yeah, this can't work, or could it? And I sort of convinced myself into, Ty Simpson, he's the guy. We always knew he's the guy. This was a blessing in disguise. Thanks for leaving, Dante Moore, because we're Ty Simpson. Or Chambliss, as he continues, he just sued another. He sued the NCAA now. Jesus, he's so. So I don't know what the hell's going on over there, but okay. So there's another one that's in the mix. So maybe they're going to convince themselves one of these guys is the guy. But putting that aside, trade market is the one that seems. I know people probably aren't in love with just giving up assets for guys, but here's the one where it's a heart brain thing here. DKB, Mac Jones. I hate his guts. I think he's a scumbag. To be honest with you, the weird stuff that happened with the Jets tripping people, hitting people in the sack. And he was a Patriot, so I just don't love any of that. But like on the surface, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
He's making less than $4 million next year, so you're getting him from a contractual standpoint at a deal. So you have one of two choices if you're the Jets if you traded for Mac Jones. You could just let him play it out this under $4 million. Wow, what a steal we have for a starting quarterback, or immediately extend him because where we're going to get to the conversation is you have to give up a pretty penny if you're the Jets. And if you say in the audience, no, you don't. Well, the 49ers are like, screw you. We'll keep him. He's under $4 million. Brock Purdy keeps getting hurt. Why would we want to just give away our tactical advantage here of Mac Jones? We'd rather keep him if you're not going to give us something decent. And everyone needs quarterbacks, so there's going to be a lot of demand for Mac Jones. So they could probably get, and from what insiders are saying, a second or third round pick. Now, I'm not in love with giving up a second or third round pick. The 44th overall pick, let's say it's the lowest of, because we don't have a third round pick. Again, fuck you, Hassan Reddick. So we don't have a third round pick right now. So 44, I'm giving 44th overall to Mac Jones, and maybe it's a 1-year rental. Like, what the hell? If I'm giving up that kind of asset, that I probably want to immediately sign Mac Jones to a deal, but then what the hell is Mac going to ask for? So there's a lot of conflicting feelings with Mac. It makes sense on the surface. We obviously need a quarterback right now, and the free agent options suck. The draft options on the surface suck. So like if we're going for a trade thing, he's a younger guy and had a ton of success. Now, the last time I checked, this trade is not going to include Kyle Shanahan. So that's a little snafu in whether or not he can replicate that success. They have like a 70% completion percentage, 2-to-1 touchdown reception ratio, and some of these numbers. So that's a heart brain thing I'm struggling with, DKB. Give me the truth, because you're a blunt guy from what I hear. You just sort of lay it on the line. You give me the truth, okay? So give me the truth on Mac Jones. How should I feel about the whole Mac attack? Oh, did we lose DKB?
What he wants to run, and if he
there
tries
it
to
is.
get back
Okay,
to that. Oh, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good now. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Just reset. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, screw him. I'm good on Mac Jones personally. But I do think it makes sense for Tanner if he's getting back into the Jared Goff mold, and Mac Jones does offer some level of Peyton Manning athleticism. So I mean, you can still try to do some things with him, but honestly, I'm good. I think I still prefer so the ideal quarterback room for me specifically right now looks like two veterans and you find somebody in the draft or you get
Mhm.
you like a Tanner McKee. So if I'm going to trade for someone, and again, none of this is ideal, but I would still strongly look at a Jacoby Brissett or a Jameis Winston. They've stayed healthy. They've looked good when they're out there. Specifically, Jameis, in the passing game, you're going to get every opportunity to see the wide receiver room excel, the tight end room excel. And just from everything I've seen, everything I've heard, right? Obviously, he feeds a lot into the religion thing and all that kind of stuff, but just a really wholesome dude. He's been in this mentor role for a pretty decent amount of time now, and he just seems grateful for any time he can hit the field and actually throw the ball around. So if we're talking about sending a second rounder for Mac Jones versus giving up a fourth rounder and let's just say even 2 day 3 picks for a Jameis, I'd probably jump on that still.
100%. I love famous. The vibes would be immaculate. I love famous Jameis, and he's willing again. He's going to throw pick sixes, but there's going to be touchdowns, baby. There's going to be excitement. We're going to ride the line of death and life with Jameis Winston, which is sort of intriguing. Let's get to one more piece of the super chat that we'll get on. We have a lot of phone calls here. DKB. Gator indicates the job security or lack thereof of 1AG to save his job. Like, what's the in your opinion, is there a wins or loss total that AG has to hit where he's guaranteed safe or guaranteed fired? Is there some tangible number, or is it more an eye test thing? It's not about wins and losses. It's just about like a gut feel that we just see it and, oh, wow, AG, it's an intangible thing that we're just like, oh, we think AG has got it. First year, sort of overwhelmed with being a head coach. Second year, oh, clearly sort of figured it out, even if the wins and losses aren't there. Where are you at there?
I think there's two pathways
Okay.
for the selling point of people that are like, okay, this is going to be the Lions rebuild. There's going to need to be some significant wins this year, right? That's
Mhm.
the arc that we saw. Tragic first year, second year winning season, third year double digits, playoffs, etc. He
Mhm.
would have to be on that arc. The reasonable person says it needs to be a little bit of both. You can't have another 3-win season, even if every other game is competitive. So you probably are looking back at what we all thought last year was going to be, which is, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins, somewhere in that range. And then the games need to look competitive. We can't have blowouts of 30 plus points. We can't end the season allowing 27 plus points to be scored on us. We can't have this takeaway issue. There's a lot of stuff that is kind of low hanging fruit for Aaron Glenn, where it's an easy cleanup again, depending on who he hires. Um, but there's a lot of stuff he's being handicapped with. Again, this quarterback situation. What are they going to do with Brees Hall? And many people surprisingly keep saying we need to spend damn near every draft pick on defense. And I'm like, well, the offense isn't just this elite, well-oiled machine that we just needed to enter the quarterback in. There's still some stuff we need to do there. So I think it
Which,
needs to be a little
which,
bit of
by the
both.
way, that was I do a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays with James Woody. He's another
Yeah,
content creator out there in the universe, and he just said on the recent show, if the Jets used every pick on defense, I'd be cool with it because this is booty cheeks and all this and that, and I was like, oh, I don't know, but yeah, so he just had that take on Thursday.
this isn't that bad. I think somehow people are underrating the damage that Steve Wilkes did to this defense. We're not bereft of talent. You have a Will McDonald that
Mm-hmm.
throwing a couple more, wins this season, somebody
Mm-hmm.
probably would have slid us a first, second round pick for. You have
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine Johnson. Indications were we probably could have got a second for him, right? If people were buying into the ceiling.
Yep.
You look at what we got with Jawan Briggs, statistically, one of the best DTs
Mm-hmm.
since he got the increase in playing time this season. Quincy Williams, explosive monster, right? Jamian Sherwood is supposed to be more of an elite coverage linebacker, kind of based on what we've seen. That didn't really work out. We misutilized him. The bounce back, yeah, I mean, if we're going to discredit all of the things AG had in year one, we need to give him the credit where it was due. The turnaround for one cornerback specifically that we all thought was going to be just horrific. The Ravens could have figured it out. Why with the Jets? Brandon Stevens. We got to make that look like an actual manageable contract and player. And you're going to overhaul the secondary. I think we still liked what we got a chance to see out of our safety. And we're going to add some pieces there. So it's like it's not bare bones. Is it completely ideal? No, but I think a lot of that was Steve Wilkes' fault schematically and having this disjoint, whatever was going on. So I think a DC does come in and he can pick up, and this, technically speaking, should probably be like a early 20s like defensive ranking with what we have right now, in my honest opinion. So every defense, I would question my fandom. Probably it wouldn't make sense to me, right? You have the opportunity to get Garrett Wilson or Carnell Tate or someone like that. Max out the tight end room if you want to get crazy with Kenyon and Mason.
Oh,
and
yeah. Wow.
There's a lot of stuff you could do that would be more appealing on the offensive side that would benefit us, as opposed to, well, let's get 3 linebackers and let's get 2 edge guys and let's get, a cornerback and 2 safeties like that. That's nonsense to me.
Yeah, let's get some friggin' points, for God's sakes. How long are we just going to accept dying 6-3? Like, there were 2 games this season back to back where the opponent scored 13 points and we all went, we just lost in a blowout. That's an impossible deficit to overcome. What? 13 points? Huh? Who? What? Like, let's get some backyard points out.
When we get down 2 field goals, we're looking at this like, oh God, we got to score a touchdown.
That's true. That's true. That's unfortunately true. That's a sad reality. Troy with a super chat. Then we'll get to the phone lines, I promise.
Wow.
What the hey? All right, let's get to this. Troy Sturgis with a $2 super chat coming in here. Thanks, Troy. Added to your raffle ticket total. Does Jalen Hurts get cut? That would be interesting, I assume, was what that word Scrabble was supposed to be. I would say this. One of my jobs that I do at heavy.com, of course, write for the Jets. I get to do all these podcasts, but they have me doing some behind the scenes stuff that no one ever sees. And that's one of those, gets to work with the Eagles people. They're one of my teams. I've got like 6 or 7 teams I do some stuff behind the scenes with. So long story short, all the content I eat up to do this Jet show, I see sometimes for the Eagles. And I saw a very scathing report from The Athletic from Mike Silver of like, there's all kinds of drama and heat and blame and all kinds of crazy shit happening there. The Eagles fans are the most crazy. This is like a random detour thing real quick. Like, Eagles just won the friggin' Super Bowl. And they're booing their Super Bowl team and saying, this shit sucks. I'm like, man, freaking be a Jets fan for 36 hours, and I'll tell you what really sucks. But no, I don't think Jalen gets cut, despite all the drama I heard. And it was a lot more drama than I thought. I'm like, oh, dear God, what's going on over there? If any, the one thing I did hear from the Silver Report is the Eagles are 100% interested in drafting a guy because of Hurts' struggles. So they're interested in something. Tanner McKee, who a lot of people bring up, DKB brought up earlier. I see it's popular in the chat. He's in the last year of his deal. So do the Eagles keep him? Does he say, nah, I want a starting gig or a starting chance somewhere and get traded? Do the Eagles do something crazy? I think if anything crazy happens, if there was a surprise, it's a trade situation. I'd be very surprised if Jalen just gets straight up cut, because despite whatever people perceive Jalen to be, I mean, he is proven to be a dynamic dual threat quarterback in the NFL, and he is better than what a lot of people have in the National Football League, and a former Super Bowl MVP. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think he gets cut, but he could potentially get traded, which would be that'd be crazy. He would just became for 5 seconds. I don't know if he still is no, he never was, because it was Dak, excuse me, but the highest paid quarterback in football with this crazy ass deal. And no, I would, a cut would surprise me. Do you have any thoughts on the Jalen Hurts stuff here, DKB?
Yeah, I don't see that happening, right? This is it's a story in the same mode of when there was a lot of hype around, could Dak Prescott be available with like the Cowboys,
yes,
right? And when they were struggling and stuff, and it's like, these guys are performing near the top of the quarterback pyramid. They're still young. Jalen Hurts has all the playoff accolades and stuff going on. I think the one significant change for the Eagles was he was excelling under Brian Johnson when he was his quarterback coach, and then ultimately even when he was playing OC for them. And everybody that they've tried to insert since then seems like they've struggled with somehow maxed out talent that they have over there. And it's like, we don't know how to pass the ball consistently. The guys that we have mismatches with, and apparently we can't run anymore with Saquon. So it's beyond me. But yeah, I can't see that happening, right? Maybe a surprise trade happens, but again, from our perspective, I don't think we'd dump off any significant resources, even though he's great. I just don't see that happening for a guy that's what is he? Is he even 30 yet?
Oh, I don't think so. If I had to guess, I'd say before I even hit Google on this, 27 maybe. Let me see. And he is 27.
Oh,
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. If I go to the carnival and this whole Boy Green content creator thing doesn't work out, I'll be that guessing age guy at the carnival age step. I'll be like, step right up, give him a look, and go, yeah, about 27. And like, oh, wow, nice. And I'll prevent you from getting that teddy bear out in the audience. So you're welcome. All right, let's dive into the phone lines. It's a pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. And again, I believe it's available for the DKB people as well. If not, again, you guys can hop on over to the Boy Green channel and hit that call-in link and feel free to dive in on the show. Up first, here's Hap.
Hey guys, hey DK. I want to remind you guys that about what our quarterback room really looks like, and I think if we have a traffic cone back there, that'll be an improvement. You know what I mean? It's like, well, how can we go wrong? I mean, this is almost historically bad quarterback play. So I mean, any of the older guys are going to be better, as far as that. I think our best situation to keep AG's job would be to load up on offense, give the fans something. Let's see some points. Let's see some scoring. Let's finish that off. Let's make the bed for next year when we do get our quarterback. Boom, he comes right in. The bed's made. Everything's perfect. The defense is going to be a little bit of a harder pull, I think. I mean, we lost a lot of defensive linemen. We're not really strong up there. Our linebackers are wonky. Our cornerback room is up in flux. There's a lot to go on there. But I think if AG, the best case scenario for me is that we lose every game next year by 1 point, but we have like we're scoring 40 points a game, whatever it is, This way, the crowd, everyone would be psyched. They'd be like, "Oh wow, we're scoring points. We're really close. We just got to, because it's a 2-year. I think it's a 2-year build at this point out. We're not going to do everything this 1 year, and it's a gauntlet next year. We have a really hard schedule. So, what do you think, DK?
Yeah, no, I think it's sound reasoning, right? Ultimately, if Aaron Glenn is as innovative and forward thinking and stuff as we believe him to be, then he can look at a Wink, right? Let's just go back to that. I pull in Wink. I don't have to dive and give him a ton of resources for him to make this defense operable. So then that means I can take everything I have in these first 2 rounds, not everything, but I can use these picks and I can bring in, another wide receiver. I can bring in a tight end. I can improve the guard room, continue to build the wall up front. I can do these things that will allow the ground game or the passing game to have success. And at the very least, because we know that any quarterback we pick up is probably going to have a ton of flaws, I can at least make their job as easy as possible.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm hoping. I really like to see. I want to get Love. I like him. He's one of the 3 blue chippers I see in the draft, and I think that would take care of the Brees situation. Be very exciting to watch this year. Give the fans a bone, and the following year when we get our quarterback, maybe even get Ty Simpson, and even this year, and like if he falls to the second, I don't think it's going to happen though. But if we get him and he doesn't pan out as a quarterback, we could use him as our backup quarterback.
Yeah, and I would also say this, Hep, that I think what your plan is double dip good. Let's explain, right? If AG goes, fucking defenses for pussies. I'm going all offense, baby. And he loads it up and it saves his job. Oh, that's great for Jet fans. That means he won games and did wonderful things. If he goes all offense and it goes to shit and AG gets fired, well, whoever the hell the quarterback is next year just got a bunch of new toys to play with. So it sets up. I think the plus offense mission from a draft or potentially for agency standpoint, particularly draft, because you have all those guys for minimum 4-year deals, if not 5-year with the kicker option for first-round picks, surround the quarterback with talent. Again, I don't want the defense to I don't want us to lose 23 plus points a game, 5 games in a row. That
No.
was uncomfortable, and I'd prefer that not to happen again, please. Thanks. But we've just been defense forever. Every head coach the Jets have had over the last 26 years has been a defensive-minded guy except one, Adam Gase. Thanks, Woody. So, like, the fact of the matter is, I've seen these Rex Ryan defenses, which were fun, and Herm, and all these other guys, Eric Mangenius, like, those were all cool. But I'm ready for offense. I'm ready to score a bunch of points. I'm ready if that's how, right, and your projection to lose every game by 1 point in this crazy high-scoring game, like, give me some offense for God's sakes, because, these live play-by-play shows we're doing, and I'm like, oh, folks, a field goal. We've cut into the deficit. Like, let's get some freaking touchdowns here. Like, that's what I think the casual NFL fan has no idea about being a Jets fan, right? They lose a random game, 38-35. Oh, God, this sucks. I'm like, 35 points? You scored that in one game, not 3 in a row? Like, they have the things that other people take for granted that we are just begging for. Like, wow, guys, we just got 2 touchdowns this game. Nice. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane. It's freaking insane.
Yeah. I know. Thanks, guys.
There he is. Hep, join us here on the program. All right, there we go. Love it. And there's no natural next person to go to than hearing the Love Boat, the Love Train, the Love Connection, or perhaps the B-52s crowd in the audience with the Love Shack baby. It's Lou B, Super Jets fan.
So, I agree with Hap with Love, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
you love Love?
I totally do.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, if we went all offense and just loaded up on, like, Love, great receiver, and try to get one of these rookie quarterbacks. And DK, I love your content, by the way. I follow you. Just saying hello. The Jim Leonhard thing is what I'm calling about, though. So I'm in the casino entertainment world where there's big companies. Think about the casino companies that I have to compete with. So I book talent every day. So we go after talent that would necessarily not want to work with us. Happens every day. These NFL teams are as big as some of these casino companies, right? You can make offers to people with timing, timing and money. Right. And then logic, like, why would Jim come here? Well, number one, he was a Jet. So let's start there.
Yeah.
We don't know how green his blood is. It could be blue or it could be very green.
Sure.
So we need to know that, number one, going into the conversation. Number two is that you can say, look, we're going to load up on offense in this draft, but we have all this capital. We want to, you're going to run that. You could pick the guys that you want to stay on this team. You can, do you like McDonald? No. Okay. He's out the door. We'll get another pick for you. Whoever you don't like, we're going to go out and get another pick. You're going to use the free agency money. Oh, and by the way, we're going to pay you. He's not that rich. Like, he's not that rich considering NFL. I was just looking over the course of his NFL career. He made like $9 million in a long time. That's not
this
that
poor
rich
hobo. No, he needs some money.
It's poor for NFL, right?
Yeah.
It's undisclosed how much he gets paid. I'm not sure.
Right,
But you go to him with an offer that, we're going to make you the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL. That would be somewhere around $5 million a year. Here's some money up front. Here's the walk-in. There's no cap. There's no rules. And not paying that money is going to cost this team so much in free agency. Because I believe with a guy like him, the agents are going to say, okay, well, that's a serious guy. We can put our guys with them. And also, as much as I don't agree with AG being the coach, he does have charisma. He does have charm. You do not know how him and Jim's relationship was in the past. You don't know how much Jim respects our GM. He worked with him. You don't know how close he was with Banjo. He worked with him. There's enough of connections of people there to make him feel comfortable. Now, I do not think he will come here too easily, but there is a chance with right now with Jim not having his deal done with the Giants. It's right now time to strike. You have to go and say, hey, we're here. This is money. It's up front. We're giving you $6 million a year, 3 years up front. Boom. You're going to use all our draft capital. You're going to help us. Oh, by the way, we have a lot of draft picks. We do need to use some of them on offense, right? Because we have to score. But there is a good case for him to come here. I know Alan is totally thinks he would never come here, and he's trying to
Yeah.
get your beard. He's trying to get you to bet to take your beard off again. Don't take that bet.
No,
BG,
no,
because-
screw you, you bastard.
No,
you got it
don't
once.
take that bet.
No, I'm not taking that shit.
You cannot tell me it's impossible to get this guy. This is not true. Okay, people told me that about this DJ, that DJ, this comedian, this one in my business, and like, yeah, okay. Then I invite you to the show when the show happens. It's not impossible.
Yeah,
but we need to sell tickets. The Jets need to sell tickets. Need excitement. The money is nothing compared to the money you lose by not paying heavily paying a guy, and he was a Jet. And that I'm gonna go to my grave on that. You guys have a great day. That's just my pitch on Leonhard.
There we go. Lou B, baby. One of the best in the friggin' business. He loves love. And he says, hey, are you saying there's a chance for old Jimmy to come on home, Mama calling home, to come back to the Jets where he once played during the glory years of the New York Jets? I, of course, didn't know there were the glory years in the middle. I thought that was going to keep going. But nonetheless, here we are. So Lou B, baby, cooking. Okay, I like it. And again, that was the super chat from earlier from Lou B that I highlighted on the screen here. Here it was. What do you about that money? Dollars and cents. Let's talk. Let's make it happen. Again, he would be very exciting. He's just he's a young guy. He's been a defensive coordinator before. I love. Again, the former Jet thing only helps. Connections. I forgot about the obvious connection with Banjo. Obviously, they worked together before he came here. I didn't even think about that one, but yes, that's true too. Banjo, Bougie, Glenn, too much interconnective tissue there. And again, for the people that thought that it was impossible, he interviewed. He wouldn't have interviewed if he didn't have interest. Like, why would people waste their time? Do people know what goes into and even I don't fully. I've only heard it from some of the insiders before about the depths people go to for these interviews and what is included and all that. Even for a Zoom interview, like, man, these are super serious. I don't think people want to waste hours of their time doing a thing that if I was Jim Leonhard, clearly had no interest in the Jets. So I'm saying there's a chance. All right, let's keep the train rolling here, DKB. I'm going to be honest. I thought you were going to have the best hair of anyone that called into this show today. I thought that was true until I saw Man Bun Johnny Boy here on the program. What's up, pal?
DKB, what's going on, brother? How you holding up, man? BG, good morning, sir.
What's a good word, my friend? Am I allowed to use that? Is that patented, DKB? Am I allowed to use that every once in a while, like an action figure, pressing button number 3 on that?
It's open to Jets universe.
Okay, great. What's a good word, Johnny Boy?
Just chilling. The reason I got to put my hair up, man, and DK knows, man, like when you sleep, right, and that hair is back there, bro, it gets hot, dog. So sometimes you gotta,
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So he knows, know. So I came on because I wanted to ask you guys a couple of questions. Sure. So DK, you saw all of these interviews that came out that we had no idea, right? Yeah. So it seems like a lot of things are not really being leaked out like they were once before. Is that something that you contribute to AG and his staff? And do you think that's a good thing for us? Finally, it being that things are not being leaked out, that the whole media has no idea what's going on. So they're grasping at straws to try to put some kind of narrative out there. Example, Woody Johnson was super pissed. I heard it from my friend's baby mama's daughter, sister, uncle, niece that said that.
Yeah, no, I think so. Here's the way I kind of looked at AG's year one, right? And I contribute a lot of kind of what we've seen gone wrong to this as well. But Aaron Glenn came in with this CEO persona and approach. And what he said was, excuse me, Jesus, I've looked at the Jets from afar, right? I've been tapped in. I've wanted them for years. And, we just couldn't make anything happen at the time. I've seen this from afar. I know the shit show that the Jets have devolved into since, I've left as a player and I left the organization as a scout, etc. I need to fix a billion things in here, right? So let's start with operations. Let's get everybody out that doesn't want to be here anymore, right? We seen them do the offer for what do you call it? I forget the exact name for it, but they were giving out like separation checks, essentially. If you don't want to be here anymore, go. We'll pay
Oh, like
you.
severance you're talking about?
There we go. They were giving severance out. We never heard what the percentage was, but I heard the number could have been upwards of like 75% of the staff was eligible based
Wow.
on whatever the criteria was they were looking
Mhm.
for. Be gone, right? We're going to focus on people that want to be here, bringing in fresh looks, et cetera, et cetera. Then going through helping Muji build the front office, and we know Aaron Glenn had his footprints over everything. So helping Muji, helping get Spielman locked in, I would assume, right? Then you have him trying to build out his coaching staff, which was late in the cycle. You have him trying to evaluate the roster late in the cycle, right? That's why we missed Senior Bowl. That's why we missed the East West Shrine Bowl. We skipped Combine, if I remember correctly. So he's behind the eight ball in all the offseason activities. Then you hire Steve Wilkes so you can take this global CEO mindset and you can say, I'm going to be in every single room possible, right? And I'm going to be installing my mentality and my expectations. And now you don't truly have a focus, right? Now you're in the front office. Now you're in the scouting department. Now you're in every, positional meeting possible. And what got you the job isn't the thing that you're even focusing anymore, which I don't have a true problem, but in the point that you start to see that this is going to be an issue with Steve Wilkes at the season, and you can probably make the argument that week one was that huge indicator, right? I remember the news coming out that Steelers players were saying we weren't ready for Justin Fields and all this stuff. And, we know Aaron Rodgers being aged, he was still coming off of injury and all this other kind of stuff. And you still, get put up 30 something points. So I think there was a lack of focus on what mattered specifically with the on-field product that won't be an issue going into year two. And I think that'll be a huge benefit to Aaron Glenn. My only concern would be who his DC hire would have been, right? Because if you get a Wink Martindale, I could see you kind of getting back into that mindset of, okay, he has the defense. Let me focus on offense, and then maybe let me also focus on this front office stuff. And by virtue of being a head coach, you have to do that anyways. But I think he's going to have a much more specific focus on detail going into year two, making sure that he can actually take a higher level of onus over the entire product, specifically defense, though, and seeing what's going on. And he really has to be in a place where he can't leave himself any excuse, any reasonable excuse for why there's a lack of wins this season, right? One of the things that'll come to mind is the quarterback conversation that we're having. But technically speaking, on the offense, there's not a ton of things that you can point at and just say this is a problem, right? There's at least upside. There's things that you could be excited about throughout that roster. So we'll see what happens ultimately with that. But I think he has a lot more things crossed off his checklist going into year two, as opposed to when he stepped into year one.
And let me just say, Johnny boy, at the beginning of your thing, like so many people were so dead wrong. And I'm not hearing a lot of people going, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to. When they said, oh, the Jets are idiots. Look, they're not interviewing anyone. What morons. Wow, look at them behind the eight ball. And then all of a sudden, boop. Yeah, here's the 8 interviews we did, you bastards. That wasn't in the Jets caption. Like, suck on this, baby. They didn't say that. But these are the 8 interviews we completed. While everyone's chirping, we were doing interviews the entire time. So shut the hell up. So it's refreshing to not have the leaks. Again, I'm a little split. I'm a Jets content creator. I would have loved, like, on Monday, we're speaking with Arujo. Oh, let's do a full show. Who's Arujo? Let's dive in. Let's bring in Dolphins people. Next day, Durante Jones. Oh, Durante, Vikings, this, scheme, that. Selfishly, content creator, yes, I would have loved for it to break up into pieces so we can have time to really delve into whoever these people are. But AG, with all due respect to myself, doesn't give a shit about me, and he shouldn't. He needs to operate his own building. And the fact that very minimal leaks. Durante got out a week ago, so that one came out almost immediately, seemingly. Arujo came out the same day the rest of the list came out, so that was late. So that one barely came out. And then there were just Wink rumors. But even the people that had the Wink info, Rich, Connor, Zach, Connor initially was going to share that Wink did an interview. Then he went, oh, wait, I was told maybe it didn't happen. It did happen. Connor just didn't get that info. So, hey, AG deserves a ton of props for closing down that operation and just doing it of his own accord. And then just boom, hey, by the way, we did all these 8 interviews. Now we're cutting it down. So I think he deserves a lot of credit. because a lot of people were talking all kinds of shit this week that they thought the Jets were just, I guess, slapping each other on the ass in the building. I don't know what they thought they were doing during this time, but obviously they were doing work and putting this together. So, yeah, I think they deserve a lot of credit for those no leaks, clearly.
BG and DK also the year before, right? Wasn't the defense on a decline pretty quickly as well? Because at one point, wasn't a lot of our defensive tackles, a lot of undrafted free agents that we had that came over to us this year? Your Leonhard Taylors, I forgot the other guys that we had, and there was a lot of them that was there. So that defense was already declining, and then you get AG that comes on over and takes over a squad of undrafted free agents. How did Brady Cook look for us, right, as an undrafted quarterback? So people are trying to say that, AG is supposed to do this, but when the talent is kind of not there, right, you're trying to grasp at anything that's going to stick, and it just didn't. My last thing that I wanted to say to you guys was this, with the draft coming. So last night, myself, we had a show, and
wait, you had a show on what?
On Jets Worldwide. You already know what time it is.
Oh, Jets Worldwide. Okay, I
but
understand. And that's on. You said Friday night, 7:30.
7:30.
Oh, okay,
but
nice. All right.
We try to get DK on there as well. It's just been the timing for us and everything. Wow. It's all good. He will.
That's cool. He rejected you. You can just say it. DKB's a busy guy. I can totally understand. That makes sense.
But we were kind of combating between offense or defense, right? And
for what?
For the draft, like, is it going to be heavy offense, or is it going to be heavy defense, or is it in the middle? And I think that I am wanting to go heavy offense. What do I mean by that? Give me a wide receiver to pair up with Garrett Wilson.
Yes,
dude. At 16, if Sadiq is there, and I know what's going to be the narrative that's going to be out there. Man, we didn't pick Warren. We didn't pick Bowers. And now we go ahead and get a tight end, right? But you're putting as many weapons as you can. And the other one, get the center from Iowa, Logan Jones. Get that dude there, because, I mean, could you imagine having Tip, Myers, and Jones as three centers? That centers are typically individuals that have it up here, right? Another quarterback that's there, giving them time. And if in 2027 we're getting the quarterback of the future, supposedly, or whatever, with all the capital we have, you're making it a lot more easier. Because if we don't end up, getting Simpson or anything, you sign Myers to 2 years. Maybe Jones kicks to that left guard position and stays there. And now you got three guys that are cerebral enough to talk, to say to Olu, hey, bro, look, this guy's gonna be doing this. Then you got Titman talking to Membu, hey, this guy is doing this. And then you got your guy Myers in the middle saying this is what's happening. And they just have a complete bubble for whatever QB we have. And then you fix up a lot of your offensive woes, essentially, dude. And I really think that Breece Hall is staying.
That's my gut right now, but I guess we'll see with the franchise tag, or straight up let him walk and hope he comes back to you. My gut says franchise tag, and so Johnny's gut is that DKB. Is your gut that Breece Hall's staying or going?
I think he's gone.
Damn. Okay.
And
DKB very blunt. Okay.
And big shout out to Alan, because Alan's who put me on to Logan Jones, right? And I would say this. You can't go wrong with getting any of the freaking offensive linemen from Iowa. Like, just they bred them over there, man, and they know what they're doing. So just get them. But that's my take, man. So I don't know. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Like, are you guys pro heavy offense all the way, and then maybe we address the defense in free agency, because you could get the value positions that would cost us a lot more. You have them for 5 years and don't have to really worry about your paying a wide receiver to, like, would you not love having a Chase and T Higgins scenario with us over here? So like, that's my take. But the only thing is, the difference with us is our line is pretty good. Cincinnati does not have that. So your guys' thoughts on this. And hey, keep killing it, DK, man. Yo, your content over there is awesome. If you guys do not know, what the hell are you doing? Go give my guy some love, man. He does it as well. BG, you already know what time it is. And shout out to everybody chatting. To Indy, man, prayers up for you, brother.
100%.
We still got you, man. So peace.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate that. Jets Worldwide, wide. Friday nights. So make sure you guys support that YouTube channel as well. I have not seen the DKB mock draft yet. So again, shame on me. Smite me, God, if you do. I've not seen it yet. But if I were to see it or an upcoming episode, the thing that I'm sort of curious about, I guess it gets me so emotional to talk about mock drafts, that the thing that I'm really intrigued by is everyone. So at 2, I've seen a lot of possibilities. Again, it's very early in the offseason. There's been a lot of possibilities. Oh, this linebacker, this pass rusher, this, that, or the other. But I haven't seen wide receiver a lot at 2. But I'm seeing wide receiver at 4 or 5. So if they can go at 4 or 5, but they can't go at 2, the Jets are just immune. They could take a wide receiver at 16, but why not at 2? I have not seen that enough. And shout out to Connor Rogers. I heard him sort of say that into the universe. Like, that could be a thing that happens at 2. And like, no one else is talking about it. So like, again, if these guys are good for 4, 5, 6, why the hell aren't they good enough for 2? That's the thing I just don't understand.
Yeah, positional variety, I guess I assume, right? But this is the premium position. So I think the biggest toss up, right? Jordan Tyson, if Jordan Tyson didn't have the injury history, I think he's a guy that is in number 1 talks, right? Regardless of quarterback potentially being available, he looks like he has that level of talent. Then you have Carnell Tate, part of, wide receiver U, if you will. And it's great. I didn't realize until I was like digging at people we could potentially look to do something with in the college ranks. Brian Hartline got a head coach opportunity elsewhere. So we'll see that factory potentially move. This might be the last you see of like high quality, professional day 1 ready wide receivers, maybe. But yeah, I don't see why not. I don't subscribe one way or the other that we need to be investing on offense or defense. I think ideally, if anybody's paying attention to Howie Roseman and the way that he's been able to build a roster, take the best available guy you can possibly get. And with the picks that we have, you could potentially get the 1st to 4th best person at their position at all of those selections.
Yeah, for sure. Now, DKB, I want to throw up a super chat here. If you don't mind, I have to run and handle a family thing real quick. Quick situation. So DKB, you've been promoted to full-time host. Okay, it's a DKB Daily right now. We have a super chat. Someone's asking you, should the Jets fire AG or run it back? I'll be right back. So AG or DKB, handle this AG. I'll be right back.
I got you, my boy Ace. Appreciate it. Should the Jets fire AG or run it back? I'm a fan of running it back, right? I think you can make the argument that things were so bad in year 1 that this is a guy that just isn't cut out for being a head coach. Again, pointing out some of the things I mentioned with him just having his hand in too many cookie jars. I don't think that's necessarily true yet. This year, we should really find out. But I'm extremely comfortable running it back. I think when you just look at the support he has in the front office with Derek Muji, and it looks like he has a good eye for talent evaluation, not only in the draft, but in the pro ranks. He should have a much better day 3, by the way, since he's not scrambling to try to piece together his staff and figure out what's currently been going on with the Jets. And you look at the on-field product, maybe the coaching staff, I shouldn't say maybe, there's definitely a ton more question marks there for Aaron Glenn. Tanner Engstrand hasn't undoubtedly proven that he looks like just this offensive genius. But he's obviously been, kind of hamstrung by the quarterback situation. I think we still need to see the rest of his the rest of his coaching staff get built out or overhauled first before we can truly judge it. I will say Aaron Glenn may not be the whether he's handicapped by the fact that people don't want to come to the Jets, or it's just truly he hasn't been able to acquire the right people. We still need to see him be able to do stuff like the quarterback room, for example. We need a true quarterback coach in here that has experience. I've called this out before. I would potentially consider moving on from someone like Sean Jefferson too, right? I think you can make a clear argument that outside of Garrett Wilson, who he didn't, it's not like he drafted him and he turned him into this. He inherited him, and Garrett Wilson just always looks like one of the best guys at his position. He hasn't done anything else with any of the other wide receivers that we've acquired. Now, have we given him a Cardinal Tate or anybody? No. But you'd also like to see that the coaching staff doesn't need premium picks every single time in order to churn out something really, really good. So I think I like the tight end coach. I'm comfortable with the O-line coach and what we've seen. Wide receiver, quarterback, I would strongly look at. We'll see what our running back coach from Maryland, I think we picked him up from. We'll see what he can do and what he can accomplish. But there's still stuff that needs to be done. So I think if Aaron Glenn fails, it's going to be because he couldn't get or couldn't evaluate the right coaching staff talent for him and being able to make some things work here. Let's see what else we had in here, right? Blunted Vegas, I see you in here. Appreciate it. Bertshaw uses the White Swan. Okay, got you. I would like a bridge quarterback, outlaw, and also draft a quarterback probably in the 4th round. And I'm guessing that guy from Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken. So the Ole Miss is Trinidad Chinglis, if I remember correctly, right? I heard it's not unreasonable, and we don't know where the second quarterback taken might ultimately be, right? But I've been hearing some of these analysts speak pretty much almost as if it's, starting to get carved in stone that Trinidad, if his lawsuit doesn't end up working out in his favor, would be the second quarterback to go. And a lot of comps are starting to come out that he plays like a better version of a Kyler Murray or a Russell Wilson or any of these smaller guys that we've seen had a level of success. And seems to be a little bit more advanced as a passer and maybe a little bit more athletic than what these guys would have been coming out. I don't know what that looks like ultimately. Maybe he ends up becoming a second rounder or something, which is probably what that looks like. But yeah, again, I'm locked into get you 2 veterans and then take a gamble in the draft, whether it's Ty Simpson, whether it's a Chambliss. Maybe again, the Raiders, like, not a historically great team when it comes to the draft, and they try to live by the beat of their own drum. Maybe they do something stupid and Mendoza's available. And even in that situation, it's more ideal. Mendoza starts off as QB3. And if he can't beat out these 2 veterans, then he wasn't as pro ready as we thought he was. And if he does, cool. You didn't have to sink, ideally, a ton of money into your quarterback room, and you end up getting a more proven product instead of having to hand somebody the keys, as we know we like to do, and seeing what happens there. There is another couple super chats in here, but let me wait till
DKB, thank you for holding down the fort there. Sorry, I had to run and go take care of the family.
I fully know what that's like.
The craziness that happens in the middle of live shows in the morning. So thank you, Ace of Spade. We'll, again, add that to your super chat total here on the program, so really appreciate it. I see we have a bunch of super chats coming in here, so I will keep highlighting those, and thank you as well. And again, you all know where I stand. Run it back, hit them with it, hit that repeat button on old AG. Hopefully not repeat on the 3-14 season, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. All right, let's get to a couple more super chats here on the program. I see we have Trevera 7372 with the super chat.
Wow.
Hey, BG, DK, I have one question. What AG needs to do this upcoming season to show the owner he's here to stay? Because I feel this is AG's first full season. And there is something, I think DKB talked about this earlier, there's something to be said that when you're first hired, especially in AG's case, where the Lions situation, right, they're in the playoffs, so you have to wait a while and then go through the interview process and everything else, that in that situation, when he's hired and Muji are hired, it's like basically you're on top of Senior Bowl in February, and then 3 weeks together, finish finalizing that staff of yours, then run over to the combine. Free agency. Did you have time to figure out that plan? So like it's super truncated now. In fairness, right, the Bears, they had all the same difficulties. Ben Johnson was on that same Lions team. They figured it all out, and now they're still playing this weekend. I wish the Jets were. So some teams have figured it out despite the truncated schedules. It's not an excuse. Everyone has to deal with that, and Ben Johnson overcame it to be able to do it. To me, again, we sort of asked this question earlier to DKB about AG, about is it a tangible thing? Hey, 6 wins, you're guaranteed to come back. 7 wins, 8 wins. What is it? I'm with DKB on the win range. I think it's 6 to 9. I mean, I would take 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 if that's available. But I think, at least 6 wins. If it's 3, 4, 5, it's just hard to say. Now, again, there's context of situations, and maybe there's something that happens that is so like unbelievable here. By the way, great Dragon Ball Z shirt there, DKB. There's a lot cooking from that perspective where maybe there's an exception to the rule, but I don't want to get into exceptions. I just want to get into the facts. And the black and white of it is I think he needs at least 6 wins. And I'd feel a lot better if it was 7, because that just feels like, and Woody and other people have yelled at me when I say that, I want to see at least 7. Well, loser mentality. No, I would love more wins than that, but I'm trying to be realistic. We were just at 3. And all of AG's changes, it'd be cool if it's instant coffee and all of a sudden, boom, we're in the playoffs. But if we have 7 wins and a lot of those losses weren't by 23 plus points and there were competitive losses and a couple of flip the coin, that'd be an easier thing to help me sell. So I don't know if it's necessarily T. Rivera, whether it's just, wins and losses. There is a little bit of an intangible element to it, but it's hard to see him come back if he has less than 6 wins.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think there's some easy goals, right? And
Okay.
I'm trying to get out of the work mind because then it's going to make me want to run to my laptop. But there's easy goals, right? You can't be 0-6 in the division again next year.
Right.
You can't again get blown out by 27 plus points for over a quarter of the season. You can't end up having 0 takeaways again. You can't have Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, these guys we invested significant resources into, looking like guys that you'd have to trade for day 3 picks, right? Like we need return on investment within a reasonable expectation. And you have these easy markers about division wins and really just being competitive. And I think that's really where it starts. One of the things that triggers in my mind is if Aaron Glenn is going to have some success, it's going to be because there's more turnover that happens, right? Obviously, we're going to be infusing some talent here. But even like I was mentioning a little bit earlier, the coaching staff, ideally, I like a new quarterback coach. I potentially consider a wide receiver coach. You have all the defensive staff changes. So because AG did so bad in year 1, going into year 2, it's technically like it's his year 1 again, I guess, to the point here, which is unfortunate, but he can't have the same kind of results. And so if he does hit that 6, 7, 8 win marker, I think that does show that his process works. He was just kind of handicapped by either timelines or what he had available to him at the time.
Yeah, and let's see less of the stupid stuff. Now, I think, in fairness, the stupid stuff we saw in the middle of the season, less and late in the season, what I mean by that is like time management situations. Like the Hail Mary stuff in back-to-back weeks is like inexplicable. Like to do it and then after go, geez, what was I thinking? And then to immediately do it again is like, that's baffling. That's hard to explain. But I don't remember a bunch of those kind of situations at the end of the year. So he learned from that, it seems, or I have willful blindness and I pretended the last 5 weeks of the season actually didn't happen the way that it did. But I need to see more of that from a coaching perspective as well. But T. Rivera, you got a raffle ticket to our contest. Thank you very much. And by the way, I see our boy Outlaw, DK always kills it. Hell yeah, baby. Pow! Axe murderer. Pow! He's killing it out there. Let's go to Mac here with another super chat. Then we'll go back to the phone lines here on the program. Mac.
Wow.
By the way, you're back in the top 5 and raffle ticket this month, Mac. Thank you very much. If the Jets stay at number 2 overall, then will we see what AG values other than quarterback? That is a fascinating test tube, right? The quarterback was the de facto, I would imagine. Again, I haven't seen enough tape or any of that myself to fully understand what Dante Moore would have been or could have been. I just relied on draft people I know. I reached out to Trevor Sickman and said, hey, is Dante Moore, like, be real with me. Trevor's a PFF's lead draft analyst for PFF. And I said, hey, man, is he really a top 3 pick, or are we just sort of forcing him up there because of quarterback? He said, no, he is absolutely a top 3 pick. I went, okay, I trust your opinion. So enough people told me that it sounds like if he would have came or entered the draft, the Jets would have taken him at 2. Now that they're not, I agree with you. Now we're like, hey, AG, make your next move. If he takes a pass rusher or a corner or a wide receiver, whatever, that will give us a little bit of a telltale of how he weighs positions, because what the Jets have here is, well, let me ask a question, not to assume. DKB, is Fernando Mendoza going to be the number 1 overall pick?
I don't know. I highlighted this a little bit. The Raiders, for all the flack that we got about, Dante Moore needs to escape the Jets by all means possible. It's like, what the fuck have the Raiders done to make you think that they've just been out here killing it, right? Carr, their best potential, option to go to the playoffs, etc. And you burn through that whole thing. You take a look at a lot of the draft picks that they had were these guys in the first round, by the way. These were guys in the first round that they're like 30 picks off of consensus, right? And so it's like they're doing the whole Arian Smith thing, but in the first round. So I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason Fernando Mendoza doesn't get picked. I don't think it's super likely, but it's like with Tom Brady being there as the like quarterback guru guy, for one, you never know. They still need to figure out their head. There's still question marks with them. So all I'm saying is they're not the Chiefs, they're not the Raiders, or not the Ravens, or one of these premier teams, and they're susceptible to stupid stuff too. So we'll see.
Okay. The immediate dunking of the Raiders, I will allow. That's not where I thought your answer was going to go, but I will take it. Thank you. Yeah, screw the Raiders. No, but the reason why I was going to say it is it seems like the betting odds at this current moment, although, hey, if the Raiders want to F up, I'm all for it, that they're going to take a quarterback, which means the Jets with the number 2 overall pick technically have the number 1 overall pick of all the non-quarterbacks. Literally your pick of the litter of anyone else. Could you just force feed a quarterback? I guess, but you could literally pick anything else. And at this point, it sounds like they will, more than likely, unless they trade the pick. So it is a cool question, Mac, of like, wow, let's see what AG really values here. If they stick and pick, what does he decide to do? To me, I think that would be fascinating. And again, at this point, I don't know what it is. There's a lot of Arvell Reese fans in the audience. There's Ruben Bain fans in the audience. If you want to go like front 7 defense, it doesn't sound like one of the corners is worthy, but one of the DBs, if you go Caleb, like it'd be crazy to go with the defensive back at number 2 overall. But Ohio State people tell me Caleb Downs is the real deal. So that could be a thing. Or do they just go receiver? Connor Rogers made the pitch for Jordan Tyson. If the medical's clear, he is a superstar wide receiver. And do you just say, F it, we're going to score a bunch of points? So, Mac, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Again, that's another raffle ticket, another 2 raffle tickets, as a matter of fact, for you based on your previous Super Chat total. So that is great. Again, thank you to DKB again for stepping in there for me. Sorry, guys, for falling behind. I had to deal with a family situation real quick. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. Up next is Mr. Famous Fulton joining us here on the show. Mr. Famous?
Good morning, Paul. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. It's Paul and DKB here.
How are you doing, DK?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's go full screen here. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Those shades are sweet, man.
Yeah, I just got these at Five Below for $5.
Wow, what a deal. Okay. Well, I hope you could have fought for below 5, but I'll take 5. Five's a good deal. Look at that. Matches the headphones and the shirt. Look.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yep. Okay. So, are you guys ready for the big game this Monday night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For you that don't know DKB, he is a massive Indiana. Hoosiers! Yeah, so he's rooting. Who do you got in that game, DKB? Are you a Hoosiers guy or a Miami guy? Are we going to have to boo you off stage here?
Nah, neither. I'm a Rutgers guy. But
okay, Rutgers, that's red. That's close enough.
I think Mendoza clears. He's just been killing people in the playoffs this year. So
Okay.
So DZ, what would be your score predictor for IU versus Miami, Florida, Miami Hurricanes?
Yeah. What's your score prediction for Monday night?
I think like 36-23.
Of Indiana winning?
Yeah.
Okay, can we all do this together, DKB? Okay, so Mr. Famous, you lead us here through the Hoosiers action. All right, you lead us.
All right, let's go.
Hoosiers!
No.
All righty, baby. That's what I'm talking about, Mr. Famous Fulton.
Yep, and I am working on a song coming up.
Oh,
and
cool.
if the IU football team wins, I'm gonna do a remix of the IU fight song. So.
Oh, cool! I can't wait.
On the
You gonna
ukulele,
do that on the
yes.
show next week?
I sure will.
Ah, sweet. All right, great. I can't wait, Mr. Famous Fulton. Well, you got all the beautiful on for Indiana, and you guys are going to kick some Patuki on Monday night, pal.
I sure will. Thank you, Paul.
There he is. Hoosiers!
Hoosiers!
You guys are trying to get me exalted from any future Rutgers opportunities.
That could definitely happen. Sorry, pal. We've got some memberships flying in. T. Rivera, after a super chat, he's raining from the high or more. We have to play a video package. So thank you, T. Rivera. Are you an Icky Shuffle guy, DKB?
Oh, who?
Number 44.
Woo! 44, that's me! Get some cold cuts, get some cold cuts, get some cold cuts. Woo! Give me some!
No, little Icky Woods, little Icky Shuffle. Hit him with it. Hit him with it. Okay, there
I
you
do
go.
appreciate I like the dancing from back in the day and not the stuff that we see now for the most part.
100%. You know, oh yeah, Billy White Shoes Johnson. So many goodies. There's so many goodies out there in the universe. So thank you to T. Rivera for gifting 5, count them 5, Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Those 5 went to, we got Retire 80 already. Joe the Jet, Olivieros, T-Rex Yaday, and Dion _080. You guys are all now members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Shout out to T. Rivera, baby. 6 raffle tickets so far this month. Thank you, T. Rivera. This has been a fun show so far. A fun show. Let's keep the phone lines rolling here on the program. Up next is Badshaw.
What's up, guys? How are y'all
What's
doing
going
this
on,
morning?
Badshaw? Well, how are you doing, Badshaw?
Well, I've been up since 4:30 because we're dog sitting my mom's dog.
Okay.
She's used to getting up super early. She's like 3 pounds, and I basically fell asleep because she kept rolling around in the covers last night. So I just laid my hand on her, and she like fought my hand all night, but I was able to get some sleep. Like I was
Okay.
like,
What kind of dog is this?
It's like a it's a shitty poo or a poo shit or
Oh, okay. Wait a
Shih
second.
Tzu and a
Shih Tzu. Wow, there you go.
yeah, well,
okay.
it's a Shih Tzu and a poodle, so it's like just a piece of shit.
No, oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. I used to have a Pekingese poodle, so I sort of get the general gist of what you're saying. Yeah.
And you have a Pikachu on your arm. So
That's it. Boom. DKB, you got any tattoos?
Yeah.
Wait, let's see. Let's see. All right. This is Ink Masters here. All right. What do we got? All right. What's that?
It is Triskelion. It's like an old Celtic symbol for.
Oh, okay. I
It's
didn't
a
know.
whole thing, but yeah,
I didn't know. Oh, okay. Tip of the Irish cap to you, my friend. Nice. Okay. Great.
I'm trying to see DK's shirt. Is that Ultra Instinct Goku or what do we got here?
Yeah, what do we got?
It is it's a combination of
oh yeah,
all the guys on
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh wait, he's got Super Saiyan 3 down there. Nice.
Yeah, I was about to say
Okay.
it's like the forms.
Yeah. Oh yes, yes. Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan
That's
2.
badass.
Okay. Yeah, Kakarot. Nice. Okay, I love Dragon Ball
That's
Z.
badass.
Yeah, he's got great.
Oh
taste.
yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah. I really do. I'm like, we got some Pokemon action.
That's true.
Dragon Ball Z in here. It's like my whole childhood.
Okay, I won't ask you what you're wearing, Badshaw,
So,
but
I was-
yeah.
Nothing. So anyway, we'll change the subject.
All right. Anywho, yes.
But so I saw Max super chat about y'all talking about the number 2 pick and whatnot, and I heard DK say he didn't know for sure if the Raiders were going to go with Fernando.
Yeah.
Was I hearing that correctly?
Yeah.
So, do you think that? Do you think that he falls to us, or do you think somebody they're willing to trade, or do you think what do you think the Raiders are going to do? If you don't think they're going to take Mendoza, I'm just curious, what do you think they're going to do?
I would say that if Brady doesn't love Mendoza, and I can't even recall what their quarterback room looks like, I just know it's crap as well. But if they don't take Mendoza, I think they take, world star trade package, and, they drop down maybe a couple slots and they really try to build up whatever they can. Offensive line is crap, right? What are they doing with their Ashton Genty selection? They need to try to make sure it works out for them. Wide receivers still could use boost. So it's like, there's a lot of work for them to technically do on the offense still, as opposed to just getting a Mendoza and plug and play. I think percentage wise, right? I would say I'm probably 70-75% comfortable saying they would probably take Mendoza, and that other 25 to 30 would be something crazy happens, like a trade package, or Brady can't get his way and they do something stupid and they take an Arvell Reese or somebody like that, right? But I still think it's mostly Mendoza. I just can't completely rule out that they're not idiots.
I get you. Okay. Well, I thought that was kind of interesting when you said that. I was like, well, so okay, what could we do here? I think we all watched the game a week ago or so, and he was just lighting it up. So it's definitely, we're all kind of drooling over this guy and whatnot, but it's kind of one of those things where every situation we've had has been too good to be true. It's like last week, BG's like, you never know, Dante Moore, like, we'll find out. Is he going to commit? Everybody's like, oh, I think he's going to, join the draft. And then it's like, in the back of my head, I'm like, but that wouldn't be the Jet way. That wouldn't be our
that wouldn't be.
Way, But with that being said, I want to change the subject to something that y'all were talking about yesterday. PG.
Yeah.
So I know, Fridays you have Bob on.
Correct.
And he was talking about, we need to just go back and watch Super Bowl 3 and blah, blah. And, I think Will called in and he was like, it was a boring Super Bowl, whatever. I'm like, the Super Bowl.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. You just said, yeah. Oh.
Can y'all still hear me?
No, you're breaking up. You're going through a tunnel, Batcha.
Yeah, the shitty poo guy.
Well, Jared is like trying to FaceTime me right now.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, it's a Sprint commercial. We've got you.
Yeah,
now.
Jared. Yeah, Jared's trying to FaceTime me. So anyway, like what, 15 years ago, Jets in New England.
Ooh.
I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, what is that the most here like since the Super Bowl? I'm getting tongue tied now. Jared threw me off. I'm like, Jared keeps fucking calling me.
I think he's doing that on purpose to fuck with you.
He is. I'm going to get to see him in less than a month, and I'll kick his ass when I see him. But
yeah, there you go.
So anyway, my freaking question is, what was like the pinnacle of like? I know BG, it's probably the New England game for you since the Super Bowl. What has got us fired up? What has been the most rewarding thing as a Jets fan since the Super Bowl? Me personally, it was the Jets beating New England that day. It was like, we went out. I want to say we sacked Tom Brady right off the bat a few plays. Then he threw that interception to Harris. And then, dude, I knew it was done when Braylon Edwards drug those guys in the end zone. I was like, dude, and like I think you even said the next week it was like we had used everything we had for that game. It was like our guys, like every guy that day played with like a 99 overall. If it was Madden, it was like Braylon Edwards was a 99, like his break tackle was 99, So So my question is for some of the older Jets fans since Super Bowl III, or if it is Super Bowl III, what is something what has been the reward as you as a Jets fan? Because I know a lot of people weren't around to see the Super Bowl. What was something that was rewarding to you that you remember that stands out in your mind where you were like, I'm proud to be a Jets fan? Because we need some positivity. And I'll get off here before Jared calls me again, but I just want to leave y'all with that question.
Thank you to Ben Shaw for the call-in. I would say, so I've been able to see Super Bowl III on DVD several times, so I've seen it countless times, but obviously you don't see it live. It's not the same, and I was negative 1,000 years old when that happened, so I did not get to see it live. Yes, your assumption, Badshaw, is correct. The 2010 playoffs, the year was technically 2011 of January. The Jets going into Foxborough weeks after getting their fucking teeth kicked down their throat 45-3 and beating the Patriots, who were 14-2, who said, oh, the Jets are coming in, LOL. And everything about that game, from folks who don't remember this, Dennis Byrd, who was tragically paralyzed with his neck injury in the 90s. His jersey was brought out at midfield by LaDainian Tomlinson, who was on the Jets, and the team captains. And he was with them in spirit. And I wish I was a fly on the wall that week of what the hell Rex Ryan was telling his team, like, of just turning every gear, pressing every button, and say, I don't give a shit what happened a couple weeks ago. We are going to absolutely, beat the bleep out of this team. And to speaking of rewatches, I don't know about Super Bowl III. Maybe that'd be interesting for people. Rewatching that game live and all the plays I remember in my head of a David Harris pick and getting caught by Algie Crumpler's old ass. I still don't know how the hell that happened. Then Nick Folk missed that field goal, and then you're like, oh, Jesus. And everything. There's so many plays that I remember from that game that I would love to do a rewatch. But that for me is definitely the play. If you're and I say modern Jets fan, if you were born anywhere from like 1989 moving forward, I would imagine that is the pinnacle performance, not to write it for everyone else, but everyone can answer in the comment section of like, wow, like there it is, baby. We just beat the Patriots, our rival, and we're going to the AFC Championship game. So that's number one on my mind of my moment as a Jets fan that I hearken back to all the time. What's it for you, DKB?
Yeah, it's a lot tougher, right? I think I'm a little like more, I don't want to say cynical. I'm a little bit more I guess hard-assed about the team. I don't know. That's not a great word either. But I think about when I think the Fitzmagic year, right? Being able to beat
2015, okay.
But I think, or being able to beat the Patriots, excuse me. But I think probably, what was it, the 2 years ago where we dumped on the Eagles?
Week 6. Yes.
So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, ultimately, nothing, none of the highlights that we've had in the last 10 years really ever resulted in anything but like recency bias. Those are the two games that come to mind immediately, in that like we had no business even being in the game, let alone winning. And we were able to kind of alter some seasons at the same time. So I enjoy playing spoiler if I can't have any team success myself.
One other one in Badshaw has connected to this one. Not that I knew him back in 2008, but the Jets beat the 10-0 Tennessee Titans on the road in 2008. And I remember the game, of course, and all the crazy moments, but I remember this quote from Brett Favre, who is crazy to like sort of recall. Oh, yeah, Brett Favre, our old quarterback. But Brett Favre, after the game, was asked about the win. He says, I don't know if we're the best team in football, but I know we just beat the best team in football. And that team had Lendale White, that Chris Johnson, like that team was stacked. And for the Jets to go in there and beat the Titans just was this emphatic, and the Jets went to 8-3, and man, there was, that's one that certainly rings in my head. If you're thinking that Brett Favre, the 6 touchdown passes by Brett Favre against the Arizona Cardinals, Anquan Bolden getting his fucking jaw rocked at the goal line from Eric Smith, just bang at the 1-yard line, and his lifeless body fell down to the ground. I was like, oh, Jesus. So there's like devastating, cool moments. Great. Like it was just scary, everything. So, oh yeah, that one certainly presses the buttons for sure. There's no question about it. I see we have some more super chats coming in. Let me get to that before we get back to another phone call here. We got Frankie here on the program. Frankie, let's get this super chat in here and hear from my daughter, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
And hey, you've opened this can of worms, DKB, saying, well, maybe the Raiders would potentially. Again, the Raiders should be, if they don't want to take Fernando, they better trade that to someone who wants to take Fernando, because if they just take a random linebacker or something, they'd be stupid, because that pick is valuable. Someone's going to want Fernando. So Frankie asked, and thank you, Frankie, for the $5 super chat. Do the Jets make a call to Vegas? And would you trade for the first pick? And how much would you give up? First off, the Jets have to do their due diligence. How do you not call Vegas? At least, even for them to tell you a resounding no. So, of course, you have to call. But I'll turn this over to you. DKB, the 3 most dangerous letters in Jets content creator land. I ask you, would you be willing to trade for the first pick, or what would you be willing to give it up?
I would, right? And my decision would be based around the fact that every year that you look at pre-draft rankings versus what happens by the time that you actually get your designations from the college players and whatnot around, this January timeframe we're looking at now, it drastically alters, right? People get injured, people were trashed for whatever reason in the college ranks that you didn't expect, or you have the few guys that excel, but now they're out of reach because, you played yourself out of position. The Jets, for everybody saying, oh, okay, well, we got Dante Moore now next year. We have Julian Sayin. We got, Manning out there. Manning, the family's not going to allow him to come to New York, right? I can see that being
I push back on that
situation. Dante Moore, there was already stuff I've seen out there that, it wasn't explicitly stated the Jets were part of the reason for why he left, but that he was considering the teams that would pick him. So you can make the easy connections there. And Julian Sayin did have a disappointing end to his season, right? Where people are starting to kind of question him now. So he could end up easily being next year's Dante Moore. So it's like year after year after year, you can't keep positioning yourself to just look at the overwhelming positive of what could be. You have to live in the right now. And right now, we have a free agency. We have a trade situation where it's dog shit for us. And so if you can secure what everybody is saying is at least the most pro-ready quarterback at his position, and you look at how he's done, it might be the only person ever hit 16-0 in college, right? You absolutely jump on that. It's not plug and play for the Jets. We still want to support him in a couple of ways, but this could be the guy that propels you forward, and this could absolutely be the job saver, if you will, for Aaron Glenn. And it's a match made in heaven for Tanner, and there's so many easy connections that seem like this should take off and work really well, right, for us. So I would jump on it all day, and I would be willing to go as far as probably giving up maybe the second this year or first next year or something like that to try to get it done. I could see the Raiders trying to squeeze us for whatever they could, but I'd be willing to give up 1 or 2 premium picks in addition to maybe some later round stuff, depending on how crazy it got to secure Fernando.
Yeah, let me make this clear, Frankie. Did the Jets make the call? Yes. What would I give up? I'd give up my firstborn son for this guy. Fernando Mendoza, for God's sakes. Hell yeah. Sorry, son. All right, we can always make another kid. Come on now. Yeah. Fernando Mendoza? I mean, this guy's a real deal, baby. Sorry, Frankie, but that is what I'd be willing to do. Hopefully, my fiance currently isn't watching the show, or I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you for the super chat, Frankie. Again, you've launched up in a raffle ticket total. Let's go back to the phone lines. We've got Mikey here. What's up, Mikey?
Hey, how you doing, Paul Green and DK? I like him too. He's a Jet fan for life too.
Yeah,
I
he's
got
for real.
pneumonia again, Paul Green.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mikey. I hope you feel better, man.
Yeah, you guys know Joey Jackson?
Let me see. Yeah, let's go full screen here. Yeah, let me see it one more time, Mikey. Oh, wow. Yeah. Of course,
Nice.
JoJo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my friend David that works in the hospital. They're best friends.
Oh, man, that's so cool.
That was a signature I saw in there, right?
Yeah, he has it autographed. He knows him. Yeah, show it to us one more time, Mikey.
Well, he bought my autograph. Give me autograph.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you think if you like at Mendoza, you know what you should do? Call Green Bay Packers, make a trade, get Wilkins, the quarterback Wilkins.
Willis,
what's
Malik
his-
Willis, right?
Yeah, Malik Willis and get Dobbs. That will be
Ooh.
it. We're going to have a kick butt team. Yeah, we would be better than the Patriots next year. My prediction this weekend is Poop Mafia loses to Denver.
Okay.
And Patriots lose to Texans. And the
blessed
Jets,
be he.
that would be our Super Bowl right there. That would be
because it would be the worst, right? The opposite is the worst, right? The Bills and Patriots win the AFC Championship, and Jet fans were like, can just the stadium collapse on itself? Like, I don't want either one to go to the Super Bowl. That'd be awful. So yes, give us the opposite, where neither goes to a championship game. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. It's gonna be Denver and Texans, and Texans going to be in the Super Bowl with the Seahawks.
Ooh, I like that. Our boy Sammy in the Super Bowl. I'd love that.
Yeah, I hope he plays today. He got hurt.
Yeah, I saw that. I really that would devastate me if he was unable to play because of this oblique injury. So I hope he's good to go. I hope there's no funny business here. That'd be absolutely terrible for Sammy.
Remember the 49ers?
Yeah.
If they make to the Super Bowl, they're home. They not have to pack the bags to go anywhere.
Correct. We've only seen that one other time. There's the COVID year. The Buccaneers had a home Super Bowl at Raymond James.
Yeah. Tom Brady played for Tampa Bay and he won the Super Bowl.
He did. That was the year. That's exactly it, Mikey. Well, I hope you feel better, buddy. I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling well.
And it's my prediction for the other game. I want the Bears to win. The Bears. Sure. And the Bears? I did take, who was the NFC? I want to see Seahawks.
Rams. Yeah.
Bears go beat the Rams 27-24.
Okay, good. I'm going to go lay some money on that, Mikey. Let's go, baby. Bears take out the Rams. Let's go.
It's my scores for today's game.
Okay.
Buffalo loses to Denver 31-27.
Okay.
And the other game, Seahawks go win 31-23.
Okay, I love you have all these close games, Mikey. That's good for the casual football fan. Like, again, I got no skin in the game. I've got skin in the game of seeing teams I don't want to see improve, but I'm all for just great games. So, Mikey, that'd be phenomenal. So, thanks for the score update, buddy.
Patriots tomorrow loses to Texans 27-23.
Ooh, nice.
And then Bears go beat the Rams 33-30.
Okay, beautiful. There he is, Mikey.
Jets, Jets.
Ah, yes, my boy, Mikey. Great call, Mikey. And thank you. And seriously, buddy, I hope you feel better, pal. I'm sorry to hear that. So best wishes in your recovery, my man. We have 500 people in the room. God bless. Like the video, hit subscribe. And Boy Green is 2 subscribers away from 8,300. That's crazy, man. That's freaking nuts. So thank you, DKB. Appreciate that. No. Please, people. Please. You don't have to applaud. Please stop. Stop it. I know I'm terrific. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Oh, look, it's BG needs an intervention. Geez. It's just I just walk into the room. Why is everyone in a circle? What the hell's going on here? I was just coming to my house.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, DKB. Paul, I'm working this morning. I've never laughed more in my life than I have watching this episode.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay.
Can you imagine Jim Leonhard's face knowing that he's getting looks by Harbaugh with those 7 other bums on that picture? Can you imagine his face?
Where's that
he
picture?
must have laughed his ass. Oh my God.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would call my agent and basically take myself off the list.
What?
Those are 7 zeros and a real candidates. You know that.
So we're going to get Jim Leonhard. So you're saying he's the best of the group. He has a good shot at getting the job. Yeah.
Paul, Can you hold on to your beard, Paul? Can we do another bet, Paul?
No. I don't think I'm doing that. Although the beard, yes, I can grab onto it now, which is nice. It's growing back. I've gotten a lot more silver though. My fiance noted that since it shaved completely and then to grow back, I'm getting a lot more silver. So thanks for that. I'm a silver fox.
7 bums and a real candidate.
That's
7 bums. DKB, you can hear that. Bums. Paul, you had to Google 7 times to know who the other 6 candidates were, right?
Let me see. Did I have
to?
to?
Be fair, you do that in most of these defensive coordinator.
Paul,
your research is mostly positional guys, anyways.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me that you're an NFL expert that knows most positional guys that are moving up into the DC ranks, I would trust you. But if not, I'm assuming most people are searching.
Okay. I'll tell you this, Alon. 4 of these I had to Google. I'm not going to lie. Okay.
DKB.
Arujo, Banda, Covington, and Durante had to Google. Chris Harris was on our team. Of course, we all know Jimmy. I know Wink, and then Jim O'Neill I knew from the Detroit days. So, and sort of just his experience in the league. So, yes,
Paul,
4 Googles. Yeah.
Paul, I said in the chat, I'd rather have Ed O'Neill as our DC than Jim O'Neill. Okay, thank you.
Come on, man.
Paul, and DKB, you can listen to this one too. Okay, 6 of those guys would be better as Walmart greeters than being DCs on our team. Okay.
Who are you looking at as the top 2 guys? Is it Wink and Jim?
Those are the only 2 guys that would make sense. And I don't want Wink. I think Wink is a complete retread. The other 6 guys are non-candidates. I'll give Durante Jones some credit. I think if he was smart, when Flores gets another job, I think he'll stay in Minnesota. Okay.
That would make sense.
The other 5 guys, I swear to God, they'll be working at Goodwill before they become DCs of any other team. Can you imagine the 31 other teams looking at this list and the laughter on their face watching these 8 guys? Can you imagine that?
Maybe we know something they don't.
I don't disagree with him, by the way. I do think that most of this list is kind of it's unappealing to me.
You agree with Alon? How that's not a good sign.
You're smart. You're and Paul, when you have the intervention, can I be a part of it, please?
What is this intervention for exactly?
The
what do I need help with?
First of all,
yeah.
The first intervention is for 12 wins in 2025.
I was slightly off.
Okay, slightly off. Yeah. 9 games. That's pretty good. Paul, and when you have the 12 wins in 2026,
that's very possible.
That will be the next intervention. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
Paul.
All right.
Paul, I'm trying to be nice here. And trust me, I don't have a nice bone in my body. I'm trying to be nice, Paul. Paul, this list is laughable. And if you're
a nice list,
why in the world would you take this job?
Because he knows AG, he knows mood.
DKB,
you do this every time. Any position that ever opens up for the Jets always starts with, why would anybody take this job? Because jobs are hard to come by, and the people, if they believe in themselves, think they are the solution.
Okay. DKB, unless Jim Leonhard is guaranteed a head coaching job from the Jets when Glenn falls, that's the only reason he would take the job. So he would backstab Glenn and become the next head coach. That's the only reason he would take the interview.
Honestly. I wouldn't consider it backstabbing. It would be
backstabbing
to not be a head coach. Okay. And Jim Leonhard happened to have shown enough in the DC spot to become one.
If you're Jim Leonhard, will you take this job?
Absolutely.
DKB, you might be the only you and the boy above you might be the only 2 people that might think about taking this job. He's not taking this job. There's talk about him going to work for Harbaugh. Why would he work for this bum?
Pause. Because I keep hearing this conversation. What has Harbaugh specifically done within his skill set that has been so great? He's a special teams coach. He knows a ton of people. He's been able to identify coaching talent, but his game management skills, the league leading blown double-digit losses that he suffered, What
Did you
has
add
he
this new
done?
one, DKB? This new one with the Giants. He's about to blow another fourth quarter lead. I thought that deal was going to get done. Maybe not. Oh,
Exactly. Well, what has Harbaugh done that's so elite tier that he's just leagues above? And I don't want to take away from his resume. Obviously, he has the career wins. He's developed people, etc. But what has he done lately that's so well that the Ravens didn't want to keep him, and that he's just this extreme head coach candidate?
Are you? Please come on. Are you really comparing Aaron Glenn to John Harbaugh?
I'm not, but I'm telling you. Tell me what makes Harbaugh such elite
you
tier.
You are.
We can go that way too. We can do the black and white.
Please do not compare.
Let's
Aaron
compare.
Glenn is
what has Harbaugh done that's so elite tier that it just makes him the immediate candidate to take Jim Leonhard away from us?
especially because Lamar Jackson was handed to him on a silver platter. That was Ozzie Newsome's final gift to the Ravens. That wasn't a Harbaugh pick. So what has Harbaugh done? That's a good point.
You guys,
Who's this
are
Harbaugh guy?
the biggest Aaron Glenn listeners.
Don't filibuster me here. Answer the question.
Unbelievable. I would take John Harbaugh over this bum any day of the week.
That doesn't answer the question.
What has he
Twice
done
on Sunday.
What has he done?
He's been the head coach for 19 years.
Congrats.
Aaron
Well,
Glenn,
what has he done?
if he wasn't a Jet, he would be one and done. He would.
So Harbaugh has a
30 out of
participation
32
trophy?
teams
That's
would
the
have fired
award?
him.
Come
What?
on, Alon. He has a participation trophy. He's like, he's been the coach for 18 years. You know, I got perfect attendance. I didn't get shit in school for that.
Paul, I want to be the actually MC of the intervention, please.
Okay.
Can we have it in
I
the
mean,
next
I was
month?
unaware it was even in the making, so I guess
We
the
need to
position's
have that.
available.
One weekend, we have to do it, Paul.
Okay.
Paul, we have to.
All
I'm trying to be nice here, but Jim Leonhard has no interest in this job. He took the job. He took the interview because he wanted to give the Jets some sort of mulligan, I guess.
Okay. So, crystal ball. Okay. Alon, I want you to pull out the crystal ball. What is your response when the Jets hire Jim Leonhard? What will your first reaction be?
I would be stunned.
And then what? Are you going to give some credit to
I will
AD?
call in and I will
Where is it going to
apologize.
happen?
And when Jim Leonhard becomes the next DC of the Giants, what will you say? Oh, he just used the Jets.
No. I'll say that there was a typo, that whoever wrote that article meant
Can you
Jets instead of Giants.
Can you put that list up again?
There's no benefit to using the Jets. You
Okay.
can't say that we're a dog shit destination and then
Matthew
also say
Arajo.
they're the reason that someone else.
It's pronounced Arujo. It's pronounced Arujo. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Matthew Arujo getting any DC offers anywhere else?
I'd have to look that up.
Okay.
I'd have to look that up.
Maybe in the CFL, but not in the NFL. Okay. Ephraim Banda, is he getting any DC offers in the NFL?
His last name rhymes with Panda.
Okay, good.
Yeah, okay.
CFL.
Okay.
Maybe Durante Jones has some cred.
Of course.
Chris Harris is a token interview.
A nice
There's no way
player.
they're out-
Nice player. He intercepted Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl once when he played. Yeah.
Paul, can you do me a favor? If Chris Harris gets the job, what will you say?
Oh, I will be candidly, I will be very underwhelmed with that hire.
Paul, will you go nuts, Paul?
Will I go nuts?
Yeah,
Probably.
Paul, be honest. For once, will you go nuts if he gets the job?
Probably. Yeah, I'd be like, man, because for this design, again, this is a perception thing. It sucks for Chris that, Steve Wilkes is terrible. Chris Harris, hey, you get the job for 3 weeks. And Jet fans are like, all right, Chris, let's see what you got. And it still sucked. That's not really Chris's fault. Like, you can't change much in 3 weeks, but the perception of it will be that AG did this search and he ended up back on his own front stoop. That would be a bad look, I would think.
And finally, I'm going to talk about the Mendoza situation.
Oh, sure.
If the Raiders don't take him,
yeah,
there's a reason they're not taking him. Okay. They need a quarterback. If they call the Jets and the Jets offer the package that both you guys have mentioned, and the Jets, if they just offer that, they're nuts.
Right, yeah.
They're nuts. They're nuts.
So wait, but okay. So you just made it seem like if the Raiders don't want him, so if there's a world where that exists,
then they're going to try to sucker the Jets. That's
right.
pretty much
So
it.
you're indicating that, right? Like they know something that the rest of it didn't.
Yes, I do.
But the Raiders, every first round quarterback, they live. But every quarterback
don't have a quarterback.
Okay, what about let's go back to the Jared Goff, Carson Wentz years, right? Both those first two picks were traded by the Titans and the Browns. The Browns didn't have a quarterback, and they said, "Come on up, Eagles! You can take Carson Wentz." And Carson Wentz was a MVP candidate before his leg exploded in that Rams game. What was that MO? Where they traded back, but they needed a quarterback, but they didn't take one.
Why would the Raiders not take Mendoza?
I don't know. I have no idea. To me, it seems obvious that they will. But if they didn't, to assume that they didn't because we're smarter than everybody else, yet every first-round quarterback they've ever had has been a failure. Literally every one. Dane Brugler just did a story about every quarterback, and the only one that had any success won 2 Super Bowls as a backup. So, like, I don't understand how the Raiders get this king treatment here, that if they didn't pick Mendoza, it's not because they're idiots as opposed to they're smarter than everyone.
I think the Raiders are a shit franchise. I get it, but they're smarter than us. They fired their Super Bowl winning coach after 1 year.
They fired him because he had we don't even need to get into it, but there was a lot of
issues there,
not related to the football field.
Okay,
That
but you don't.
But your Super Bowl thing is almost like a token thing. Like Pete Carroll is closer to death than birth. So like the fact that they fired him as a Super Bowl coach is not the same as the Ravens firing John Harbaugh. That's not the same pool. And I'm not necessarily saying you're saying the same thing, but sort of when you're representing it, look at the Raiders. They fired their Super Bowl coach. The Super Bowl lust had sort of worn off on Carroll. He sat out the year before because he didn't even know where to go. So them firing him, I don't know how much street cred I give. They've been firing every coach one and done the last couple of years. So I don't give much street cred for that.
This will be the last question. If Aaron Glenn was not a Jets legendary player, would he have been fired?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. It's enough. That's all I need to say. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. And I can't wait for the intervention. I really can't.
There he is. Alon joining us here on the show. Colorful, as always. That was...
Final argument was reasonable because I do think that's legit. If it wasn't tied to Jets mystique with Aaron Glenn, I do think you are looking at him being fired. But again, that's also not the way Woody works. He's usually at least 3 years patient.
Right. And the other stuff you mentioned, the other problems, Carroll had kids on the staff, his own kids, not kids like young people. I mean, he had kids on his staff, like his own kids that like apparently people like looked at sideways for some of the effort and stuff. And they're like, this is nepotism. And it caused all kinds of issues. So
the O-line coach,
that was him.
One
yes.
of his sons was one of I saw a story come out that players were literally like basically holding their own practices because they thought that it was shenanigans with what he was trying to teach.
How does that happen? Like that's one of the most craziest things I've ever heard, that they all agree, wow, this guy clearly doesn't know what he's doing. We should probably figure our own private workout here to try to get some actual work in because we've been wasting our time for 8 hours today. Like that's I've never heard of something like that in my life. So anywho, again, I don't
we've been through a lot of saying something.
Like, come on, man. 100%. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Easy's up next. Easy. Wow.
Hey, good morning.
Great look, Easy. Look at this. Okay. Rolling Stones. I like the, what is that? A mink? What is that? A fox of some kind? Nice fur there on the coat.
No, it's just a long jacket with a fur lining. That's all.
Oh, okay. Oh,
it's
nice.
Warm.
Fancy. Yeah, great. It appears very warm. Yes. What's on your mind, Easy?
The coaching staff they just scared the shit out of me. I think I don't normally agree with Alon on a lot of things, but he's right. Those guys that they interviewed were just like they're not what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
As a guy, I am looking for someone with experience other than Wink Martindale. Now, if we can't get someone with experience other than Wink Martindale, the only guy I would take a chance on would be Jim Leonhard.
Okay.
But the other thing we need a bona fide quarterback coach, because no matter who we get as our starting quarterback for next year, whether he be like Kyler Murray or some other guy that we might get from like either Minnesota or Philadelphia or whomever we get, we need a guy that is a bona fide coach. Unfortunately, Coach Knapp got killed, and I think that set back that pretty much destroyed Robert Saleh. I think that his whole, he legitimately went out and tried to get the best professional coaches that he could find. And for the most part, he did, except for their offensive line coach. I thought that guy was a joke. But I know that there is a great offensive line coach. He runs clinics. I think he's the guy who worked with the rehab when we had Mekhi Becton. I'm trying to remember his name. He runs. Yeah, he runs camps.
Oh, you're talking let me find the name. I remember who you're talking about. He works with a lot of the guys coming out of college and stuff to get them ready.
Right. I would love to throw a bag of money at that guy and say, look, I know you're making a shit ton of money, doing the rehab program for all these great players, but here's a blank check with Woody's signature on it. Fill it out. Come here and help us. So he can take the O-line that we have currently and lift them up to a higher level. Then we try to get one guy in the draft within our first 4 picks for the O-line to completely solidify that. So I think we need one interior offensive lineman. I think we need a wide receiver. And then on the defense, I like that kid Bain. Or who's that linebacker that's supposed to be like really, really good? That other guy.
Arvell Reese?
No, there's 2 guys. There's 2 guys. I think one's the interior lineman who's a stud, like run stuffing stud. And then they got the kid Bain who's like a outside linebacker / edge rusher kind of guy. And I don't want to hear the shit about the T-Rex arms. His arms are not 2 inches long, okay? So they're not, so he's maybe 4 to 6 inches shorter than somebody else. He still has power. He's still got technique. He's still big. He still has bend. So, I mean, if that was the case, nobody would have taken Tom Brady because they said he was like probably the worst athlete of all the quarterbacks in the draft that he went. But he was a great quarterback, and he had pocket awareness, and he had enough juice to get out of trouble. I mean, that was Brady. He was smart. So what I'm thinking is we need players that have the smarts, that have the football IQ, the guys that can take coaching, the guys that can improve their techniques, the guys that will just generate themselves into higher talent. And we have to find those guys in the later rounds and make it happen. As far as whether Vegas is going to take Mendoza or not, if they don't take Mendoza, they're idiots.
I agree.
And the thing that hurt our team, the Jets, most of all, is that kid going back to school. Even if we weren't going to take him at number 2, we could have used him as trade bait and maybe gone back to 5 and still got Bain or one of these other kids or that good wide receiver. Now, him going back to school, he just destroyed our chance to trade back, 1 or 2 spots and get more picks for next year. That's what killed us the most. Not the fact that I didn't want to take him because I didn't think he was ready, but the fact that he didn't declare destroyed our leverage situation with the draft. That was the worst thing. He destroyed our leverage.
You like to have a world where just all options are available, right? And then it's up to AG and Moochie to figure out if they can make the right decision for the team or not. But if you get, handicapped and now you got only really one scenario out of 3 you can choose from, then it's kind of like, well, what do I do with this? Duke Manyweather is who I think we were thinking of before.
Yeah, the O-line guru.
Well, yeah. What do you think about at pick 44? We get this kid, Drew Aller.
44.
Our second round pick.
It seems a little rich right now for Drew, based on his.
Could we trade that back into the 3rd round and take him in the 3rd round?
Sure.
Say it pick like 60 or something.
Yeah, that again, I think a big thing for Drew is going to be the combine. For those who don't know, the most unspoken thing about the combine, people never talk about like on TV, but the real thing to NFL teams that matters is the medicals. 32 team doctors and I call them neutral for lack of a better word. The combine has NFL doctors there that don't belong to any team, and they do tests. And every team is allowed to do their tests. So like Drew gets his knee looked at. The Jets say, actually, on our report,
I thought it was his ankle.
No. No. It is his ankle. I was just saying as a random example.
Oh, okay.
If someone comes into the room, the doctors look at every body part. And that sometimes, by the way, let's give a massive shout out to the NFL doctors. Sometimes we discover things that even the players don't know at these things. They're like, oh my God, you have this heart situation, and they get immediately looked at and it saves their life. Oh my God, actually,
that is a great point.
Like, oh my goodness, we never talk about this. They deserve all the credit in the world for the team physicians, how thorough they are with these combined medical reports.
Well, these 20-year-old kids never would suspect that there was anything really creepy wrong with them. I think they actually found that kidney problem with Mangold. I think one of the doctors actually found the kidney problem during his doctor visits during his thing.
Yeah, and we even get crazy ones like this.
They caught it early enough for them to manage it.
Yeah, and they told this combine story a couple of years ago. This kid came in, he was like a first-round pick wide receiver, and they said they did like a normal medical check on him, and they said, "Oh my God, Josh, did you know your leg's broken?" He's like, "What?" They're like, yeah, you fell when you were 10 and you've just been living your entire life with a broken leg. And the guy was like, what the hell? So these kinds of crazy ass things happen all the time. So anywho, that's a huge part of the evaluation process, of course, for Drew. So it is the ankle, not the knee. I was just using it as an example,
right.
But him getting his ankle checked out and them saying, wow, he'll be good to go by training camp, or wow, he'll be out till October. That's going to affect his draft stock significantly.
The other thing is free agency. I mean, just for shits and giggles, let's say by magic, we get Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, now you have Simpson.
Yep.
And you have AVT. Okay, this, I know it's a lot of money that we're going to be throwing at Linderbaum. He's probably going to wind up getting like $15 million at least.
Oh, I think he's getting more than that. The highest paid center right now is Creed Humphrey at $18 million per year.
Oh, is that high?
Yes,
it's that high now.
Yeah. That's what the number is now. But to be honest, it's lower than all the other positions. Like tackle and guard are in the mid to high 20s, so it's actually lower than all the other ones. But he could probably rival that on the open market. And there's a uniqueness because of the franchise tag and fifth year option. Those we've talked about this in the past. I'm sure DKB has done stuff on it too. That like that number accounts for all offensive linemen, not just center. So that number is $27 million. No team's going to pay that. So Linderbaum may actually hit the open market, and then it's a bidding war because of the uniqueness of those rules. Or else the Ravens just would have franchise tagged him and kept him, but they won't franchise tag him because of the abnormality in the contract structure.
Well, who's the best? Who's the best center in the draft then?
God, I'm losing his name.
Because we can get at number 2, we could literally get anybody. We could even at number 2 trade back and still get the best center in the draft or the second best center in the draft.
Yeah,
I really want to solidify. I would love to get that coach, throw a bag of money at him, get him here, and I'd really love to get a good center, because then we have Tippmann at guard. We have the 2 rookie tackles, so that's 3 guys right there. If we can get a really stud rookie center, and then we have Simpson and AVT as pick one of those guys, and I mean that would put us probably in one of the best offensive line situations this team's been in since Rex Ryan was coach. And to answer your question, the dream game that I had, the best thing that I can remember since the Super Bowl, that was the Bart Scott. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. Get ready for Pittsburgh. Can't wait. The can't wait game where we smacked the living piss out of the Patriots in their house. That was probably the best, most recent history game for the Jets, where we were dominant and taken seriously and actually feared.
Yeah, that was a good time in Jets history, and thank you for the call, Easy. And that was a great game, and that's why I love sideline interviews. Right, Bart Scott's doing the flying jet. He comes over to Sal Pal, and he just like freaking unloads the raw energy and emotion, and then the building and everything was terrific. We have a lot more callers, but unfortunately, folks, you've seen I've dipped out a couple of times. Unfortunately, I'll just lay it all out here. My son is sick. And unfortunately, my fiance has been trying to handle it on her own, and doctors and all kinds of other stuff we've been trying to do. So unfortunately, we're going to have to stop the show. But again, we've got nearly 3 hours, so it's been a phenomenal show and appreciate it. But again, I want to give another opportunity to this superstar on our screen here. Let's go full screen like he just won around the horn or something here, and do it. Subscribe right now to that YouTube channel. Come on, DKB. You got the mic. It's open mic night here. Give a shout out to your channel as you approach closer and closer to 3,000 subs, baby.
Yeah, look, I appreciate the support. Hop over. We're gonna have fun one way or the other, but yeah, I just enjoy being able to talk with the community, right? I think we got a lot of awesome people out here, and people that are tapped in. To be honest, I've seen some of the people just across a bunch of channels that have direct lines to the organization. I'm still waiting to find the guy that was like tracking the charts, the Jets flight patterns when we were trying to get Joe Douglas in. I need some more of those guys on my side so we can be locked in. But we have fun.
That's for damn sure, baby. So again, make sure you guys do it. Boy Green Coffee Club members, I know that you're very supportive of the wonderful guests we have on the show, and DKB is one of them. And my only thing is I wish I could have him on more often. But again, he's a busy guy. He's signing autographs. He's kissing babies out there in the universe. So he's a busy guy. But make sure you guys subscribe to his channel and check out all his wonderful content. Again, that is for our audio-only listeners that may be listening in. That's youtube.com/@DKBX Jets. Look that up on YouTube, or just DKB Jets. If you just YouTube search that, he will pop up in that way. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and help this brother get to 3,000 subs, baby. 3K. That's what I'm freaking talking about. Again, we have a lot more callers. I apologize that we can't take everyone. I normally try to take every caller, but unfortunately, my family commands my attention immediately. So, folks, we'll have the phone lines back open on the show tomorrow. We'll have NFL insider Matt Lombardo on as he sets us up for the offseason and has some various insights I'm looking forward to diving into. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Shout out to DKB, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.